Okay. Recording started. I just got that notification. Okay, so let's proceed. We want to see how we can leverage emotional intelligence to, boost our productivity, get to that state of flow that we'll be getting peak performance regularly. So my question now is anybody right here listening to me that can pick something that is resisting how they show up at work or in family? Maybe it's not making them show up with the kind of performance that they would love to do. Anybody that would like to share? Please feel free to unmute. Apart from skill level, you know how to do this thing. What else do you think is stopping you from achieving your result? Can you all still hear me? Okay, so I got a notification that my slide is up as well. Mr. OBK, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly and I can see your slide too.
Okay, thank you so much for that feedback. Okay, I'm seeing workplace culture. Okay, let me narrow it now. I want to talk about personal hindrance, personal interference. Workplace culture is broad, meaning is the organization that is influencing how things work. Maybe as a result of the culture they have in that organization. I mean personally. Who would like to share? You can drop it in the chat. I'm looking at the chat room too. Please feel free. Any other person, please feel free to share. I'm waiting. What do you think is the major interference you are experiencing that is not allowing you to achieve peak performance regularly and consistently? Some days you go to work and you are just accomplishing tasks back to back. Okay, I can see procrastination. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that engagement. Please keep it coming. So that is a brief about who I am. Emotional intelligence practitioner. That one was already in my bio. Now I want you to look at this particular slide. Can you relate to what is on the slide? Can you relate to urgency? Can you relate to deadline? Can you relate to work overload? Who can relate to any of these things? Feel free to tap I in the chat room. Okay. Okay. Burnout, chaos. So, like one of us already told us, procrastination. Behind everything that is happening to us, whether it is procrastination, whether it is self-doubt, there is something hidden that many of us are not noticing. And you can already guess what that is by this topic, leveraging emotional intelligence. So that hidden factor there is what? Emotion. So the modern paradox of performance these days is the we are bombarded with lots of information. If you go on your social media, you see lots of adverts, you see different types of posts, and you are also trying to cope with work pressure, cope with family pressure, and everything is happening all at once. So, and your brain is struggling to process all these bits of information all the time. That's where the overload and burnout comes in. So, the major, challenge you are experiencing now is how to even focus on a particular task. Many of us here think we can multitask, but we'll get to that particular slide where we balance what multitasking really looks like. So, the differentiating factor for sustainable success. Remember, I said apart from your skills, so IQ can deal with your skills. So that's why we say your skills get you into your organization, but EQ differentiates whether you will get to the top of that organization. And you will see the four major modules that comprises of emotional intelligence in the next slide. But just look at this picture very well. Can you relate to this wonderful human being smiling? Are you always as calm and focused as this in your workplace? Feel free to drop your response in the group chat. Calm and ready to go to work, not looking anxious, panic and all of that. So the ability to master the internal landscape is the differentiating factor that will allow you to deliver peak performance all the time. So that hidden factor is your emotion. Emotion sounds like disturbance. Anytime people hear the word emotion, then you will hear responses like, please, please, be logical here. Please, please, this is workplace. No time for emotion. Then the question I keep asking people is, if you say, this is the workplace, are you telling me it's possible to drop my emotions at home and just come with just logic? That's the truth. So what we should be focusing on is not neglecting our emotion, but how we can leverage it to boost our performance. You will realize that some days you give your best performance and some days you are struggling to, perform. The hidden factor there is your emotion. It could be anxiety, it could be fear, it could be even excitement. You can be overly excited, it could be sadness, and you won't be able to focus on the task ahead. Many of us have heard this severally, the four pillars of emotional intelligence. So I won't stress us too much on it, but we just need to refreshing our memory about it. So the key factor there is self-awareness, self-management, talking about your internal factors. So that's what we call the self. Then others is the social awareness and relationship management. The awareness here is your ability to accurately note the emotion you are experiencing and to note the trigger that also caused that emotion. Because not knowing the trigger is not a job well done. That's why I constantly say that emotion that you cannot track, you cannot even utilize it. So you must start from your trigger. What is triggering the procrastination that one of us just put, in the chat room? Definitely, anxiety is hiding somewhere in the corner, and the person may not even notice it. You will notice that you constantly procrastinate on jobs that you are not really sure you can deliver on, and on tasks that you overlook that they are too easy. So if the anxiety is as a result of you doubting yourself, then anxiety is lurking around the corner. So that is the hidden factor. But what you can see is procrastination. That's why emotions, they are running, your software, but you may not be aware. They are running the unconscious, and that is what is delivering your output. There is a popular saying in emotional intelligence, uh, you know, uh, emotions drive people, people drive performance. Emotion is the hidden factor there that is showing out as performance. So if you show up at work, just like one of us said, workplace culture. So if your workplace culture is, understanding the psychological needs of the workers, that means when you get to your workplace, you are not under panic, anxiety is at moderate level, then you can focus because nobody is looking out to attack you, right? Nobody is looking out to attack you or to criticize you, and you can deliver at your best. So self-management is the ability to know what emotion is going on and to adapt to the situation to get the best result. So you can be feeling anxious, and the question you'll be asking is, will anxiety do this job for me? So if your answer is no, you know it's time for you to regulate the anxiety to calmness so that you can give the focus necessary. Then social awareness. I've discovered that during my years of training and personal observation, I discovered that several people think that they can do the work alone. Many people think that they can do this world alone. Yes, there are some people like that. So they tell you they are one man mopo. It's an illusion. There's nothing like one man mopo. You cannot do this world alone. That's why social awareness is important. You need to be able to read the room. What's going on? You cannot enter a room. Maybe they are mourning the loss of someone in an organization, and you are not observant enough. You just jump in and you are cracking jokes. That will be lacking social awareness. Even without being told, just reading the faces in the room, you can see that this is not the time to joke. So you must read the room and you know how to now adapt to the particular situation. Power dynamic sensing and organizational awareness. That's what workplace culture need to handle so that the atmosphere in the organization is conducive for people to deliver. Then relationship management. Relationship is simply what? Mutual understanding between two people, whether it is the boss to the employee or to colleagues. There must be proper management of the relationship between both of them. So these are the four major pillars that will give you the peak performance that you need. That is in what? In summary. Now let's look at that, elephant in the room that is always the, stumbling block to how we show up with our emotion. How many of us here have ever overreacted and you blamed yourself and you are still maybe regretting it today? Anybody? You overreacted to a situation and you were not proud of your decision. Say hi in the chat room. Feel free. Drop your comment. Let me go and check the chat room. Okay. Anybody? You were not proud of your decision either in the workplace or with your day-to-day interaction with people. Anybody? So what is responsible for that is emotional hijack, amygdala hijack. So anytime you overreact and you lose control, amygdala hijack is the term used to describe such a situation. And there is, a constant battle between your prefrontal cortex and your amygdala because your prefrontal cortex is the executioner, is the one, making you focus on decision and making final decision. But there is always a constant communication between the two. So if there is no communication, when there is a hijack, that's when you react instead of responding. That's why you can see on this slide the neuroscience of reaction and response. So stress can trigger emotional center, prioritizing short-term comfort. So for the case of procrastination, I'm using that as an example because we all can relate to it, is that, at that point when you are procrastinating, you choose the task that is easier to do, or you choose for how you can go and play and distract yourself. At that point, you are reacting to the situation because your amygdala is telling you choose comfort instead of going for the job in front of you that can help you move the needle in your workplace. So I'm channeling it to workplace because we all know that peak performance is non-negotiable at the workplace. Every employer wants you to deliver. Even the employer himself or herself wants to deliver at his or her own peak performance. So you need to be able to use your prefrontal cortex, and that's what we'll be focusing on when I share some beautiful tips and tricks for us, how we can use it to stay focused on the task ahead. So your peak performance requires keeping your prefrontal cortex under check. You need to constantly communicate to your executioner that this work needs to be done. But how will you do that if you are not even aware of the interference, which could be anxiety, at times it could be, sadness. So if you go into the workplace and you are feeling sad, maybe you just received a bad news, it can affect the first 3 hours or even the whole day. But if you are aware that, okay, I am feeling sad, then the next question you're asking yourself is, will the task ahead of me, will sadness deliver it? If your answer is no, then you need to acknowledge the sadness and be willing to give yourself the grace to adapt to the situation in front of you. I hope we all can still understand what I'm saying. Are we together? So I want to move straight to what we can use. But before I do that, let me give us a quick insight about what emotions really are. So your emotions are biochemicals telling you what is going on in your environment. Just like sadness can tell you, okay, uh, something is not going well, there is disappointment, you are not getting what you expect. Anxiety can be, you are worried about the future. That's why anxiety is coming to show up. You know, please, Mr. Obike, once I have about 10 minutes to go, please let me know. Okay, thank you. So the the logic behind the beautiful work of emotional intelligence is your ability to now maximize those emotions and get the result that you want. You will notice that how many of us know Cristiano Ronaldo here? Cristiano Ronaldo does one powerful trick anytime he wants to play free kick. Many of us wonder why he counts about 4 steps backward and he will spread his physiology. Now, that's because that's a powerful secret to peak performance. He was able to understand that if he can prime himself, that's what we call priming for peak performance. You use your body to be able to, get that result that you want. So for Cristiano Ronaldo, was able to see that, okay, if I constantly use my body in this way and, take some deep breaths, which I will show us later, he was able to visualize how the free kick will go. And that is what peak performance looks like. Your ability to get the result that you want at a particular time, regardless of the obstacle that may be in front of you. And of course, we all know that hidden interference, based on what we have been discussing so far, is your emotion. Now, look at how the emotions operate. The amygdala, his own job is to react. That's why you will hear a popular saying that the job of your brain is not really to keep you happy, right? It's to keep you safe. So it's always looking for threats. And once your amygdala can sense a threat, and your threat can come in form of your boss threatening you that there is a deadline. That's what a threat can look like. And I'm using the word threat, not in a negative way now, but your brain can, signal a threat that, oh, there is danger in front of me. There is something I need to do. If not, my job is at stake. That's what I mean by threat here. So because deadline is the normal language in the workplace. And you will see that the processing speed is always fast. That's why you will react even without thinking. So maybe your boss just gave you a deadline and your amygdala can just trigger you to react and say, this work is too much. Oh. Why will you be giving me too much work? Some people have done that before, throwing tantrums in the workplace. And that is, a no-no. Then once you are able to perceive that this is high threat, then there is defensive posture, either with the way you will show up facially or the way you will react, verbally. Then behavioral output is always, rushed approvals, avoiding difficult conversation. Now, let's go back to the procrastination again. It's possible that a particular employee wants to discuss a possible raise at work. Then amygdala is showing up. Amygdala hijack is showing up in form of threat. So the person cannot get that decision to the execution at the prefrontal context level. The person is still dealing with the anxiety. So you will see that the person will likely avoid that difficult conversation. The person will constantly postpone it, even if the person knows that he or she truly deserves that raise. So you can see how our emotions can even, affect how much we make in the workplace, because it will not allow you to have those crucial conversation that is necessary. And sometimes maybe within colleagues, maybe you don't like how your colleague is treating you, but you won't be able to have that conversation between them, and that will be affecting your output. Because if you are not in good working relationship, remember we spoke about relationship management. If you are not in good working relationship with your colleague, it will affect your output, because when you need to ask questions, you won't be able to ask. When you need to, give compliment, you won't be able to give compliment. And all of these things will affect the output of the workers in that workplace. If you are following me, drop hi in the chat room. If we are together, drop hi. Let me see. Let me see. Drop hi. Let me know I'm not alone here. Okay. Where are the highs? Okay. Now, the the where we need to get to is our ability to get to that point where I call the cool cognition, right? The hot cognition is the hot button. Trigger, you react instantly. No processing, no consequential thinking. But now, when you are able to now get to the cool cognition, that's where you allow the the feelings to be processed, and you will now get to that point where you want to make a decision. And the prefrontal cortex is what is responsible for that rational command. So you can see the cool cognition in blue, right? Then the processing speed. At this point, you are deliberately slowing down and taking a pause. The next slide will show us the process of taking that pause. You take a pause and not react. Some of us receive emails and we have that urge to instantly, respond to that email. Sometimes the email does not need instant response. Just having a 30 minutes break in between, or even a WhatsApp message, having 30 minutes, except when it is indicated that it is urgent and you must respond immediately. But most cases, we'll realize that most of those mails don't even come with such urgency. But if you rush to reply instantly because you are sensing a threat, maybe the information you just received is not a good one for you, but you need to process it and respond at the appropriate time. So processing speed, be deliberate and be what? Analytical. Ask yourself, what will happen if I respond in this manner? What will happen if I send this message? What will happen if I don't send this way? How can I send it in a way that I won't be misunderstood? So all of these things, the moment you start to process it, then your cognitive ability is being invited. So you are not just reacting, you are reflecting before you respond to the situation. Then the risk perception, you need to evaluate and stop and delete any form of assumption. You need to work based on fact. What is the fact here? Is the fact is it a fact that I'm struggling in this particular task? What can I do to improve? So you must be able to be objective when you are looking at it. And sometimes you may ask for inputs of genuine friends or good colleagues at work, and they can give you feedback, or even your boss. So you need to have good people that can help you to reflect when you are struggling to see yourself clearly. We all need that. Now, remember, I already said that you cannot do this world alone. You need people along your journey, whether as colleagues or as mentors or as coaches, regardless of any way they show up, you need people around. Then the output, you will see that your output now, it has to be goal oriented and it must align with your values. So the critical question here is, are you aware of your values? So if you say your value is integrity, you know that you won't make a decision by trying to bribe or receive bribe, regardless of the urge to receive it. So can you see? And this thing can be a bit difficult sometimes because the urges are so real and you just want to make instant decision. I always say that one of the hidden factors that people are not paying attention to is anxiety that is driving most of the corrupt practices in Nigeria. Anxiety, yes. Many people are anxious about the future. They don't know what it will look like. So they will want to secure it in any crooked means possible at the moment. But the moment they can invite in the anxiety and speak to it and understand that, yes, the future is there and it is possible to still, get to the future in a very, in a way that their integrity will still be intact, then those corrupt practices will reduce drastically. So that's one hidden factor that people are not paying attention to. But all of us are always speaking about low pay, the economy. Because the economy too, what is it causing? High fuel in price. What is it causing? Anxiety. Everything still boils down to emotion. Your emotion is driving everything you do in life. That's why if you can master your emotion, then you have mastered life. you have mastered life because your spiritual life will be improved, your peak performance, just like we are discussing now, leadership, everything, even your well-being, because you will know when you need to rest, you know when your stress is a hindrance to your output, and you will take a break from work. Maybe just a siesta is what you need to be able to cool off. Because once you are stressed, you are more likely to react. Your amygdala is, in full rage once you are under stress. Now, you will notice that if you do not rest well, it's easy for you to be easily grumpy. Once people just say one thing, you lash out at them. Maybe all you need is just rest. But many people are not aware because the self-awareness is not even there. They are not aware of the emotion that is constantly running the software. So what everybody is looking at is, oh, Excel, I need to work on Excel. But there is something that will drive you to even say you want to open your system to work on Excel, right? So we need to pay attention, goal-oriented. What do I want to achieve? And your goal has to be what? Ecological. What I mean by ecological here is you must align it in such a way that it is not to hurt others. Yes, you can achieve your goals and you are not hurting other people. So hurting others can look like you stealing from people. That's not what we mean by achieving your goals. That's not a goal, a good goal. Maybe you want to achieve your goal of being wealthy, then you are duping people. That's not what we are looking at here. We mean integrity intact. Okay. You see, I'm focusing on the tools that we actually need because many of us can read up on what emotional intelligence is, right? So look at what I was talking about when I mentioned processing speed. So Daniel Goleman gave this wonderful way of, taking a pause, and it's called it stop. S stands for stop what you are doing. Then take a deep, slow breath. Right now, I want us to just stop listening to me right now and just take slow, deep breath. Are we doing that? Just take a pause right now. Just look at your screen and take slow, deep breath. Many of us, we can't remember the last time we took deep breath because we are constantly in anxious mode without realizing. Our breath has been shallow for days. The only opportunity we get at deep breathing is only when we are sleeping. But when we are fully active, we are constantly under panic mode. It's either we are thinking about economy, it's either we are thinking about relationship, everything mixed up. And all of this will affect how you show up. And all of these have ripple effects. If your emotion is not in check and you do not meet deadline, then your boss criticizes you at work or you lose out on an opportunity. Guess what will happen again? Another emotion will show up in form of sadness. Then that's how depression starts to show up. So the emotion you are not dealing with will cause another problem that will show up in form of emotion again. I don't know that we get what I'm trying to say there. So if you don't deal with anxiety that is causing procrastination, you miss out on deadline. What will happen? Disappointment will show up because you have missed out on your deadline and you are not able to maybe get promoted. I'm using that as an example. In that instance, what's showing up? Sadness. And that sadness, if it's not well managed, depression can show up. So you see, it all started with anxiety. Now depression is what is showing us. So we need to be able to sit with our emotion. Then observe your thought and sensation. Now this has to do with self-awareness. You need to observe, what am I thinking? Am I thinking about this task like I can never do it or I'm not good enough? Could that be what is triggering the anxiety? You need to be able to pay attention and know those thoughts. That is the triggering thoughts. Your triggers can be hiding in your thoughts. Then you have to also know the sensations. Are you having, palpitations? Are you sweating? Are you experiencing shallow breath? Are you squeezing your face? All of these things will show up in form of sensation. Sometimes some people may even shiver as a result of panic. Those are sensations that show up. Then proceed with intention. You can see that's what I already spoke about when I was talking about how your have to be deliberate about the decision you want to make. Then you can see these 24 hours showing here. Now, this 24 hours is not a ground rule, but this is just for us to know that most of the times when we react, we don't need to react. Sometimes the decisions we make are in a hurry, maybe 80% of the time. We can always just spare that little 5 minutes to be able to reflect, or more, 10, or just 10 minutes or 20 or 30, and sometimes it's a day. If it is a life-changing situation, sometimes it can even be days for you to reflect and get the real decision that you want to make. So when faced with triggering feedback, okay, I can see Mr. Obike, so I know that's a signal. Okay, now I can see that's a signal. I got the message. Now let's run through the secret of the Navy SEAL. If you are familiar with the Navy SEAL, they work in what? High pressure situation. So how they manage themselves to be able to get to that peak state is what? They segment what they want to do, which means eating the elephant. They focus on the next action they need to do. So your next action can be to just open your laptop and just look at it, even without putting it on. And the next action can be put it on. So that's how simple it can be. Then visualize. Try to see what the success will look like and what joy it will bring to you when you achieve it. Then give yourself some positive self-talk. Remind yourself how you have been able to achieve things in the past. Then engage what we call the 4x4 breathing. So you inhale for 4 seconds and exhale for 4 seconds. Like I already told us to practice deep breathing. I hope we all did that. And that way, you'll be able to now get the peak performance and the peak state that you want. Everybody here needs to constantly prime themselves for the peak performance that will allow them achieve their goals. Now, this decide model, I've already explained it during my explanation. So your job is to detect, examine, contextualize, interrupt, and decide on your result. Thank you so much for listening. Please, I look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Musa. That was insightful. I don't know if you enjoyed this first session, but it was just loaded, like loaded, like loaded.
Thank
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I can see a few people here who are also subject matters in areas of emotional intelligence, stress.
Exactly. I know I have
Um,
my experts here online.
I can see Dr. Emmanuel. Dr. Emmanuel, good morning, sir. How are you doing? Yes. Yes, please let's show Mr. Musa.
Good morning. I'm sorry, I have a very busy morning, but I just I've been listening all day.
Oh,
Beautiful
Dr.
Wonderful,
Emmanuel, well
presentation.
done, sir.
Yeah, well done, well
Our
wonderful.
done.
stress
I
manager.
learned a lot.
Well done, sir.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm here.
Thank
I'm
you
here
so
all
much.
day, so I'll still be here. Mm.
Yes, sir.
What stood out for you during the course of the session, sir? For you?
Well, explaining emotional intelligence and linking it up with productivity is actually something very brilliant because most trainings I've listened to take it in isolation. You know, people actually assume that mental health is something that has to do with wellness, but they've not been able to integrate it to productivity, especially at work. So that is a very brilliant step, and I really, really gained a lot. It's also something that I've already started here in the UK, integrating stress management into boosting productivity at work, increasing work culture, organizational behavior, and all that. So we very, very brilliant presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you
So
so
John,
much,
Thank
thank
you
you. You
Dr.
did
very
very
much,
Emmanuel.
great.
sir.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, we have a few moments. We can still put in our contribution. Anyone is free to unmute just to share your
Okay.
insights. What have you learned? Probably a question for Mr. Musa. Who wants to go next? Yes, yes, you can unmute yourself. maybe one thing you've learned, what stood out for you. I can see a whole lot of people here. I wouldn't want to mention, but Dr. Tranquil, are you there with us? What stood out for you? You can share if you don't mind. Okay, while that is going on, this will be a good time for you to consider. Um, it will be a good time for you to consider um, coming for our emotional intelligence and
Yes.
anger management class. It's important. Consider it. The details are on the screen right now. It's
Highly
important.
recommended.
It's
Highly
important. It's
recommended.
important.
Yeah.
It's important. You can understand now how your emotions will affect your performance on the job. I like the way you connected it, Mr. Musa, that
Thank
if
you
you
so
are
much.
anxious, it can even lead to depression
Yes.
because that anxiety can lead you to panicking. That panicking makes you fidget. That
Yes.
fidgeting makes you become unrestful. And
Yes.
your colleagues may be like, what's wrong with her? She's going crazy. And
Yes.
those words can be hurting. Now it
Yes.
leads you into believing nobody likes me in this office. Everybody
Yes.
hates me in this office. Now it's
Yes.
leading you to isolation from people, running away
Yes.
from people, avoiding people. So you can see now that from one step is moving to the next, is moving to the next, and all of that is impacting on your ability to perform optimally.
Oh,
This
yes.
is your invitation and my recommendation that you attend the Emotional Intelligence and Anger Management Combined Certification course. It's going to
Yes.
be holding in June, so you have enough time to plan ahead. We are still in March, you still have April, you still have May, and then you have June. So this is like you getting that heads up to start planning ahead and start saying, you know what, I will be in that course, in that class, so that I can get a full dose of what it takes to be an expert at emotional intelligence. And the good thing is that there's the anger management component to it.
Combination
So
to it.
it's,
Yeah.
yes, so it's like a thorough mix of what you need to be able to help individuals, help organizations, teams, so that they can really understand that beyond the money, we can't even get the money if we have not met our emotions, if we are not aware, if things are not right and all of that. And of course, Mr. Musa emphasized so much on that popular sentence, emotions drive people, people drive performance. And performance now will determine whether we make money or not. So the fee is
Exactly.
500K. So you may start asking for a payment plan that works for you so that you don't get overwhelmed by June looking for the money. So you still have March. So you can reach out to us at Seca Africa. The number is on the screen. So you can reach out to us and ask for that payment plan that works for you. You know, can I do 200 this month? By next month, I do another plan, and this month, so that by June I'm done and I'm set for the class. Can I do
Yeah.
whatever plan you know that will work for you? Talk to us, and then we will see that you get into the class. It's important that you seize this opportunity to know a lot more about emotional intelligence, to know a lot more about anger management, to know the mix and how those two connect and how they affect your personal life, your productivity on the job, your career, your family life, quite a lot of things it can affect. We
Everything.
have,
Everything.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. If we are properly
Everything.
equipped and we have the two sets. So that's my recommendation. It's
Yeah.
going to be
Highly
Wednesday,
recommended.
yes, Wednesday 17th to Sunday 20th June 2026. It's a full day course, Wednesday to Friday, full day course, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then, of course, Sunday, we'll start a little above 12 p.m. so that we can get everything. So make your plans right now. This course is in June. You have the opportunity now to plan ahead. Thank you so much, Mr. Musa. It has been
Thank
a
you so
wonderful.
much for the
I know we don't
wonderful
have all the
opportunity.
time. You would have given
Yeah,
us some more, but then
thank you.
again, I got value,
I
especially with.
look forward to learning from other presenters, so from Mr. Ayobami to, I mean, all the amazing speakers on board. So I look forward. Always a pleasure to be on the podium. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
sir.
Okay. It has been a wonderful first session with Mr. Musa, giving us those like he was so heavy with emotional intelligence and the fact that it has a way to affect our performance. Yes, I can see that we are getting value. Um, just a quick one for those of us who are just coming in that this is a Pan-African webinar. We hold this webinar every last weekend of the month. It's a monthly series. And this webinar helps us to learn from experts. Like we just heard about emotional intelligence and its connection to performance. There's Dr. Ayobami, who is on the call. I wouldn't know where he's coming from, the angle he'll be coming from, but I'm so sure that it will be an amazing session. And of course, you still have Korede, who will be coming up shortly, and she will be coming from another angle. You have Mr. Francis. So every month we bring in the best just to help us look at what the month had been like and then look into the new month, what it will look like. So that's more like our reset or retreat kind of platform. So the Pan African webinar is quite an amazing one. Thank you so much. Okay, so we just do a 60 seconds break. Just stretch yourself, grab a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. In the next 60 seconds or so, we will be back, yes, so that we can move right into this next session. I will be back shortly. Let me grab a cup of coffee. Thank you. Hey, yes, we are back, and this next session is an amazing one. Yes, it's an amazing one. I'm going to do justice by reading next speaker's profile, if you don't mind. And I know that you will gain a lot from this session. Korede Sobayo is a trained microbiologist and an operation manager with a strong background in healthcare, laboratory practice, and organizational management. Currently with SECA Africa, she oversees operation by creating structure, coordinating teams, implementing policies, and ensuring smooth delivery of services and training programs. Our scientific foundation, combined with management experience, enables her to bring both analytical precision and operational efficiency to the tasks assigned. Her professional experience includes policy implementation, customer and patient engagement, training coordination, and their likes. She has a background from the National Health Insurance Scheme, where she worked on the enrollee data management and customer service, and that helped her to strengthen her um, coordinating skills. Early in her career, she gained laboratory experience at Mayday Specialist Hospital, conducting microbiology and parasitology analysis. She holds a BSc microbiology, second class upper, and several certifications in health and safety management, project, human resources management, and life coaching from SECA Africa. Currently a master's student in public health at the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Kaduna State. And those exposures and credentials has given her the much needed balanced perspective on how people, processes, and compliances work, particularly in a consulting firm. She's passionate about efficiency in the healthcare system. She has an eye for client-centered service and thrives in roles where she helps in solving problems, bringing people together, contributing meaningful to projects that impact lives and organization. She's committed to continuous learning, constant professional growth, and keen to driving excellence at work. But of course, if you know her at SECA, you should know by now that she is a very, very, very important member of the team. Korede, how are you doing? Thank you for coming.
Good day, Mr. OPK. I'm doing very well, thank you. It's so good to be here today. It's been a long time coming. Having the Pan-African webinar for a long time now. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to be able to speak today and to be able to share from my little experience and knowledge that I have. Firstly, I would like to start by appreciating my boss, Coach Sam Obafemi, for this opportunity to speak and to be a speaker at this platform. And also, I want to thank our COO, that's Bostella Onwachi, for this opportunity. And to the entire SEC Africa team, I say thank you for this opportunity and well done for the work so far with Pan-African Webinar. It's been a long time coming and it's been beautiful. Thank you so much. So firstly, I have been rightly introduced. I currently serve at SEC Africa as operations manager, and I have a background in microbiology and occupational environmental health and safety. And today I'll be sharing a very interesting and not so talked about topic. So firstly, I would like to know if everyone can hear me loud and clear. If you can hear me, please kindly put a 1 in the chat room so that I'm sure I'm audible. If you can hear and you can see me. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'll be sharing my slide now and we'll go right into today's session. Yes, okay. Please, can you all see my screen? Please, if you can see my screen, put your favorite emoji in the chat room. All right, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, so I'll be starting right away. So today my topic is working better, leveraging best practices in workplace safety. So this is a very interesting topic that I've found myself in, and I'm enjoying the journey around this occupational health and safety. And it's a topic that is not usually talked about very often. However, the knowledge is out there, but not many people implement and take this to upgrade or make use of it as it ought to be. So we're going to just be learning and looking at how promoting safer, smarter, and more productive workplace through best practices. So today, the goal of today's session is to learn best occupational and workplace safety practices that can help us in our day-to-day work while we're working, probably it's in a corporate space or a shared space. So when we talk about workplace, we can have different kinds of workspaces. It can be a formal workspace, a corporate organization, or a work from home kind of space, or a shared space, or an industry, a manufacturing site. So there are different kinds of workspaces. So this is just going to cut across all kinds of workspaces, no particular workspace, but we'll be looking more into the corporate setting. So yes, thank you. So this is just a little about me, as Mr. Obike has said. So let's move right into it. First of all, I would like us to start by understanding what workplace health and safety is all about. So the term workplace health and safety is not new to us. We've all heard workplace. We go to work where we get where we do things and earn money. That's a workspace. And also health, safety, everything around this. We've heard these are common terms. So combining the three, we're going to learn what workplace health and safety is all about. And workplace health and safety is the process of identifying, assessing, and controlling risks in a work environment. So it's a process where you have to identify risks, potential risks in a work environment, then assess the risks, and also you have to put in measures to control the risks in the work environment. And this is to ensure the physical, mental, and emotional well-being of all workers. That's why workplace health and safety is very important. It helps you to ensure the physical, the mental, and emotional well-being of all workers. That is why the first session was very interesting, and I was so glad that Mr. Musa Bello was the one to start the session because it touched a lot on emotions. And here we can see that emotional well-being is a core and important aspect of workplace safety. And also workplace safety helps to ensure that workplace is safe, healthy, and free from hazard. So regardless of us working, if the workspace is not safe, we won't be productive. Like he touched a lot on productivity. Once the workspace is not safe for people, workers come in and they don't feel safe in that environment, they won't be able to put in their best and to do the work well. And also, statistics has it that, very interesting statistic. Statistics has it that 2.93 million workers die every year globally due to workplace accidents, diseases. This is 2025 report. So we can see that occupational and workplace health and safety is very important because the numbers are increasing. You can imagine you have approximately 3 million people dying yearly because of workplace hazards. It's a large number, if I must say. So now that we know what workplace health and safety is all about, it's important that we know what hazard and risk is. Because from our definition, it says that we have to identify, assess, and control risks. So if we don't know what risk is or what hazard is, what then are we controlling? So firstly, hazard, according to the WHO, defines hazard as a potential harm or a situation with a potential to cause harm. So hazard is something that has the potential to cause harm, or a situation that has a potential to cause harm. That is what hazard is in a very simple term. So when let's give example of the hazard. Let's say a loose electrical wire. That's the hazard because it has the potential to cause harm. Also, a spill, probably have a water spill on the floor. It's a potential hazard. It's a hazard because it has the potential to cause harm. So that is what hazard is. Hazard is anything that has the potential to cause harm. And hazard exists even when harm has not yet occurred. So when you're talking about hazards are there. Even though the harm hasn't occurred yet, it doesn't mean that the hazard is not there. Hazard is present even though harm has not occurred. I hope we are following. Please, if you are following, kindly put a 1 in the chat room. I would like to know, please, if you're following, kindly put a 1 in the chat room. Okay, while we're doing that, risks. So let's move on to risks. Risks is the likelihood that a hazard will actually cause harm. So now, understanding that hazard is a potential to cause harm, then risk now is the likelihood or probability that a hazard will actually cause harm. We said because harm hasn't occurred, it doesn't mean hazard is not present. So now the probability or likelihood of that hazard happening is what risk is. And risk only happens when when there is possible exposure to hazard. So risk happens due to exposure to hazard. If there's no hazard, risk won't happen. So we can see from these images the kind of risks. We have radiation hazard, the kind of hazards that are present. We have different kinds of hazard. So that's what we're going to be looking at right now, the type of hazards. So there are different and so many kinds of hazard, but we're just looking at very, very few kind of hazards for this discussion. We have the physical hazards. So the physical hazard, these are hazards that involve environmental conditions. So these are hazards that happen due to the environment. and they can cause injury. So environmental hazard, we are all exposed to environmental hazard. So environmental hazard includes noise when you're from a workplace. So people that are exposed to noise at their workplace are prone to hearing loss, especially people that work in production sites where they are using loud machineries. They are exposed to a lot of physical hazards because the noise can affect their hearing. Also, we have psychological hazards. Psychological hazard affects mental health and well-being of workers. So psychological hazard is it's way beyond, it's not the kind of hazard that you can see. It's a hazard that it happens within a person. So you necessarily won't see the effect of that hazard. So that's what psychological hazard is. And like our first speaker spoke about the emotions and everything, when a worker is exposed to a lot of stress, that's what psychological hazard is: stress, work overload. You're not able to process your emotions well because of of the workspace, or maybe the time constraints to deliver your work is not a lot, and you have deadlines. So those can cause psychological hazard. From there, the worker begin to have anxiety, stress level increases, high blood pressure. So that's what a psychological hazard is. And psychological hazard is a kind of hazard that people go through silently without the other staff or employer knowing what's happening. So psychological hazard has affect the mental health and well-being of workers. It can impair both mental and physical health. So psychological hazard, the effect can be seen after a while, but the process happens within, but effect can be seen after a while. Then we have ergonomic hazard. Ergonomic hazard is a very common hazard when it comes to the corporate workspace, because this is related to how the workplace is designed and how work is designed and performed. So ergonomic hazard is so it has to do with like things like how your sitting posture is. Do you slouch when you're sitting? How do you use your system? Probably make use of laptop while you're working. Is your laptop to your eye level? So those are part of ergonomic hazards. Ensuring that your sitting posture supports your back and doesn't make you have back pain, neck pain. So those are all parts of ergonomic hazards when the work environment is not designed to support a worker's health and safety. So it's very important that in our workspaces, the arrangement, the setup is done in a way that it supports the health and safety of workers. Because when a worker is not in a good state of health, it will definitely impair on the person's productivity. Productivity is going to drop, then it will lead to high staff turnover. Rather, you have to be employing a lot of staff replacement a lot, and that will lead to a lot of financial it will lead to a lot of financial constraints in the organization. So that's that about hazards. Now let's focus on risks. So now we're going to be looking at types of risks, just looking at two major types of risks, although there are quite a lot of type of risks that are there when it comes to workplace health and safety. So first, we're going to look at compliance risks. This is the kind of risks that it involves when laws and regulation for the health and safety of workers are not followed. So compliance risks is a risk that an organization or worker is exposed to when the laws that are put in place or laws that have been set to ensure the health and safety of workers are not followed. So that is why it is important to follow set laws and regulations that help promote occupational and workplace health and safety. Also, we have operational risks. This is a risk that occurs from internal process and systems, and it can disrupt an organizational safety. So, we talk about workplace culture. What's the culture in your workplace? Is the work environment conducive for staff and workers to come in? Is it a toxic workspace? So operational risks is the risks. This has to do with the culture of the workplace. What are the cultures that you've put in place in your workplace? Are they cultures that can promote the health and safety of workers, or the culture is putting the workers at risk? That's what operational risks is all about. And we also have financial risks. Financial risks is the kind of risks where where the organization, so financial risks kind of an overlap from compliance risks. If an organization does not adhere to laws and regulations, they are at risk of they are going to have financial risks because they would have to give compensations to staff or workers when things happen, probably like during the work, a worker sustains injury or it leads to death, compensation has to occur. That's the kind of risks an organization will go through. So let's assume a worker working in a cutting plant, not using a machine to cut, and during that process, the person's probably hand or thumb or something gets cut off and leads to a form of disability. A compensation plan has to be put in place for that worker, and that is a financial risk on the organization. And sometimes it's so sad when I hear stories, or I'm sure we may have heard such stories of when workers that work in such organizations sustain those kind of injuries that may lead to disability are not properly compensated. It's very sad. And you have to hear them going from places to places looking for how to get compensation from the workplaces because the workplace are not ready to take responsibility and compensate them. So it's a very sad one. It's just a plea to organizations to have structures in place, have health and safety, let's say, handbook or something that would help people know what they are at risk of. So that's why it's important when employing people, you have to have be open to your staff or be open to people that you're employing, the risks that they are exposed to in a particular job. That will help them know that, okay, if this happens, and the compensations that are available, if at all, God forbid, something happens during the course of the job. So hazard cause immediate harm to people, while risks are uncertainties that can affect an outcome. Both must be managed together for a workplace to be safe and successful. So both hazard and risks must be managed together. You can't overlook hazard and you expect there won't be any risks. No, nothing's going to happen. Both of them have to manage together to have a successful workplace. I hope we are still following. If this is making sense, please type a 1 in the chat room. So yes, please, if this is making sense, I would love to see the chat room buzzing, a 1 in the chat room. What? Can you hear me? Okay, thank you very much. So now we're going to be looking at these wonderful scenarios. We have 2 scenarios. If you can see my screen, I'm sure you can see 2 scenarios right now on the screen. We have company A. It's a poorly designed workplace. And company B is a well-designed, safe workplace. You can see how company A is and how the workplace of company A looks. It is cluttered. There's no space. I'm sure the ventilation is very poor. In fact, the person on the seat can barely even see where to put his leg. And this is part of physical hazard when you have a lot of clutter in your workspace and it's not properly arranged. So this is a poorly designed workspace. Then in comparison to company B, we have a well-designed and safe workspace. Who wouldn't want to work in this kind of environment? It looks very serene, like Seca Africa. The workspace is spacious. You can see there are even plants to help nature, that kind of nature feel. Also, if you can see the windows for ventilation. And in a workspace, ventilation is very, very, very important. So this is a very good and ideal workspace. I hope our workspaces are like this. Also, we'll be looking at more scenarios. Then we have 3 more scenarios here, practically almost the same. So this first one is a workspace. So how many of us would? So this is just a question. Please, I would like to get your answers in the chat room. If you are someone, do you like to work alone? You can see the first image. The person is working alone in space, or do you enjoy working with people, like the one where we have 2 tables, that kind of arrangement, or the third arrangement? Which arrangement appeals more to you in a workspace design? I would love to have a feedback. Which arrangement? Is there arrangements where people work alone? They have individual tables where they sit and work, or tables where it's a shared space? Which arrangement? Working alone, okay, sir. Okay, Dr. Kunle says working alone. Obiketu says working alone. Okay, so it seems like a lot of people like the working alone space. Yes, working alone space, like Mr. Musa just said earlier, it says some people believe they are loners. Please, working alone does not make you feel like you are a loner. I don't think that's the case. But however, some people are at their peak performance when they work alone. However, they can get input from other people, but they enjoy working alone in their space at that particular time. So I believe that's what the scenario is. Okay, moving on, we'll be looking at the importance of workplace safety. Why is workplace safety important? So we've understood what workplace safety is all about, what risk is about, what hazard is about. Now, I want to know why is this important? This whole talk about workplace safety. Why is it important? So workplace safety is important because firstly, it reduces the cost for organization. Like I mentioned in the financial risks. Workplace safety helps reduce the risks for the organization. So imagine an organization where they do not adhere to workplace organizational health and safety rules. They are at risk of having a lot of staff injured and having taken sick leave and all. So the organization is at risk of is on high, or what, how would I put it? They're at high financial risks because they don't take seriously workplace health and safety. So firstly, it helps reduce the cost for organization. Also, it protects workers' health and lives. So workplace health and safety protects workers. And workers would love to work in an environment where they feel safe. Nobody wants to put their life at risk. So that's why it's important that we take into cognizance workplace health and safety in our setup. Also, it ensures legal compliance. So you are going to be in compliance with the labor law and International Organization for Health and Safety. Is very important. Also, it boosts employees' morale. Employees will feel motivated to work when their workspaces are safe, conducive, well designed, thoughtfully designed. It's going to help boost morale of the employees. Also, it reduces absenteeism. So when workplace health and safety is not really put into cognizance, or is not really followed, you get a lot of absent leave. Workers will always put in a word and say, oh, they are not feeling fine, this is happening, something is happening. That's because the workspace has not helped promote their health. So they are always at risk of sickness, one thing or the other. So that's why it's important to take to cognizance this workplace safety. Also, it's better performance and efficiency, lower staff turnover. So with workplace health and safety, it reduces the employment, the number of staffs you have to be employing usually. So when the workplace is not safe, people would leave often, and you have to be employing a lot of staff, and you see that your staff turnover is very high because you're employing a lot of staff and people are not staying. So workplace health and safety reduces staff turnover, then it increases motivation. So yes, we are moving deep into the core of today's session. So what are the best practices for workplace safety? Workplace safety, what are the best practices in a workplace? So firstly, is to ensure an ergonomic work design. It is very important that the workplace is designed in a way that ergonomic hazards are put in thought, or are thought out. So like I showed earlier, the workspaces that we had earlier, this is a good work design they have good chairs. The chairs must be adjustable. So adjustable chairs helps with when people are using systems to help you see make sure that your system is on your eye level. That's the importance of having adjustable chairs for different people that have different eyes. They can always adjust the chair. So that's the first one. Ensure that your workspace is ergonomic and is designed in a way that is ergonomically safe. Also, it provides a safe physical work environment. You are meant to provide a safe physical work environment. So it is very important that the workspace is safe. Employees are meant to put into consideration to design and provide a safe physical work environment, because when the environment is safe, workers would love and enjoy working. Also, conduct regular risk assessments. So it is very important that risk assessments are conducted regularly, as often as possible. You check the office, what is in place, what is out of place, what needs to be repaired, what needs to be worked on, those kind of things. That's what risk assessment is all about. Also, address psychosocial well-being and promote safety culture. In the workspace, psychosocial well-being of staff cannot be overemphasized. It's very important, the emotional well-being of the staff and workers in the environment. When you notice that probably a worker or a staff is going through an emotional or psychological illness or meltdown, support can be given to the person to help recoup and get back and bounce back to work. So it's good to address psychosocial well-being and promote safety culture. Safety culture should be emphasized very, very often in our workspaces. Also, use proper equipment and maintenance tools. In the workspace, it's very important to use proper equipment. Whatever equipment that are going to be made available for workers to work with has to meet standard operating processes. It has to be proper equipment so that the workers are not at risk of accidents, injuries, or whatever may be. Also, it's important that we ensure emergency preparedness. Emergency preparedness in the workspaces, emergency preparation or preparedness is very important. Have another exit door apart from your entrance door. It's not easy. It may be some spaces because of space constraints. Some organizations may not be able to do that, but if it's possible, it's very important to have exits another exit way. In case of any form of fire hazard or outbreak, there's always a way for people to leave the space and without any delay. Also, implement health and safety policies. It's very important to implement health and safety policies that are put in place. Also, train employees regularly on safety. Training is very important. Train your staff or train employees on health and safety. Regular training. Employees need to know the importance and why it's necessary for them to adhere to policies that are put in place by the organization for their safety. And also, in the training process, it's important to emphasize that employees or workers should feel free to report when they identify any form of risk or hazard. It's their duty and responsibility to report to the management so that things can be done to ensure that the workspace is safe. All right, thank you very much. We've come to the end of today's session. Can anyone hear me? If you can hear me, please put the one in the chat room.
Thank you very much. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Korede. You're not going away yet. You still have some time. I like the conversation around emotional intelligence, which Mr. Musa started with, and the linkage to employee safety at the workplace, particularly the psychosocial or psychological safety. as someone who is in this field as a research student, possibly, do you see a connection between ambience and productivity? Do you see a connection between the choice of painting and employees' emotional state and well-being? Do you see that?
Yes, of course. So the ambience of a workspace has a lot to do with the productivity of the workers. If a workspace is not well designed or well thought out or well thought of, it would not, you won't get the best of your workers because the workers' productivity would be, it won't be fully at full play rather. So when you mentioned the choice of paint, yes, the choice of paint too helps with ambience. In a workspace, white paints help with concentration, helps with focus. So using a white paint in a workspace would also help boost productivity because it's a paint that helps with focus, concentration, and also it's going to help with productivity. Also, plants. You see, you go into some offices, you see plants. They have either either plants, organic plants or whatever plants. They just have plants. Plants has a way of helping have that kind of nature feel and atmosphere in the workspace. And it just makes the workspace serene. So the ambience of the workspace really it helps and improves productivity of workers. I hope I've been able
Mm.
to answer the question.
Yes, yes, yes. I also like that you touched on the setting, organizations where there's a proper space between. Okay, Chinyere says air purifier plants. That's an interesting perspective.
Thank
Yes,
you,
you
Mario.
touched on the distances between chairs. Do you think having an ample leg space works? Does it? In most organizations, there's the couch where you can just lie down, lounge, maybe have a nap for 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Are
Yeah.
those also um, recommended best practices just to improve employee safety psychologically at work?
Yes, they are recommended. However, not a lot of organizations can and would implement them because when you implement it, feel like, oh, the workers would abuse it, which yes, abuse is prone to happen with that. But it really helps the psychological safety of workers because when the worker realize or when you feel you are stressed or you are burnt out at a particular moment or because of work overload or deadline, you feel stressed, you feel anxious, you can just take a few minutes, go to the area where has been designated for rest or whatever it may be. Take a few nap, maybe some people call it power nap. Just time yourself, take that nap, and come back. It has a way of refreshing and helping you come back and with more strength and to carry on with the task. So yes, it helps with psychological safety a lot. However, it's not a practice that is commonly done. Just very few organizations do it. But there are some organizations, the best they do is to provide breaks. So that's why there are breaks. Breaks are alternatives. So your break time can just take break off work, go get something to eat, or just relax. So that's why breaks are there also in organizations.
So for employers of labor on this call, and probably people who have to manage teams, what would be your top three recommendations that they can start implementing with from this session? Your top three recommendations. Maybe someone on this room had been having that thought lately, but not so sure if it's going to work. What would be that very simple recommendations they can work with?
Okay, so firstly, the first recommendation would be have a workplace health and safety book or something where employees can read and also go through to help them know what are the potential risks and hazards they are exposed to. Also, it's important to design your workspace in a way that it promotes workplace health and safety. So this can also be an exercise. Just think about your workplace. It can even be where you're sitting down right now. Are there any potential hazards around in your workspace that you probably may have been overlooking? So that's also a good place to start. Go through, look at your workspace if you need to rearrange it to suit and help the workers and employees work better. It's a very good one. Then also, it's important that there are periodic risk assessments. So while you create a occupational or workplace health and safety book or rule, anything you call it, it's important that there are periodic and regular risk assessments so that these risks are managed and necessary measures are put in place to manage the risks. Those are the top 3 recommendations I have. Firstly, have a health and safety book that employees can go through to know what risks they are exposed to. Also, reorganize if you need to reorganize your space. Just go through your space, look at what potential risks or hazards may be in your workspace or environment that would help improve the productivity of your workers. Then lastly, there should be regular risk assessments done in the organization. These are my 3
Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much. I see a hand is raised. Gabriel, I'll be coming to you. Let me get into the chat. I can see some amazing feedback. Kinyere, you've been sharing your thoughts around, yes, beautiful perspective, plant as an air purifier, nap rooms, chat rooms, breastfeeding rooms, powerful suggestions. Organizations that have the means, you can consider any of those recommendations. That says, amazing presentation. Thank you, Madam Korede. Coffee Corner came for team strategic session. Thank you very much. And Musa says, in a country where we think adjustable chairs is only for the boss, more awareness needs to be done. Fantastic. Emmanuel Olorunishola says, great session. Thank you, Emmanuel. Yes, Gabriel, if you can hear me, go ahead, sir. Unmute yourself. What's on your mind?
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, the presenter, Korede, for the enlightening session. I just want to ask, what is I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. So what is the balance between what is recommended and what is obtainable in an organization? Just like you said, not many organizations comply with what is recommended as to the settings in an organization. So what is the line, or what is the balance between what is recommended and what is obtainable or acceptably obtainable in an organization? Because we have some organization maybe in a bid to maximize their space or to manage their space or funds, or due to some other limitations, they've not been able to meet up to some of these recommendations. So what is the balance between these and that is such that is acceptable in an organization? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gabriel, for that question. So if I heard you correctly, you said what is the balance between the recommended practices and what is obtainable in organizations. So firstly, the balance would be, I would say organizations should try as much as possible to adhere to the best practices for workplace safety. That would help reduce a lot of illnesses or whatever that may happen to workers in the health place. However, not all organizations may have the means to adhere fully to those practices. The balance would be, firstly, communicating to workers. So I believe communication is very important. Employees or management of an organization is best to communicate to their workers, okay, this is what is meant to be. These are the best practices for this organization, this space. However, due to this kind of constraints, we're not able to meet up to it, and also put a timeline to when the best practices can be implemented. So that way, staff or workers would know that, okay, it's just for a while. It's not going to be a norm or something that's going to remain like this. So that way, their morale is going to be managed. Their expectations are going to be managed. Yes, the expectations of workers are going to be managed. So first, the communication is very important. Organizations, employees, management, it's important to, once you identify a best practice that is not in place in your workspace, it's best to communicate to the workers and staff. This is the practice that are meant to follow. However, due to this, with probably financial constraint or whatever it may be, this is not yet implemented. But looking at the next 3 to 6 months, it will be implemented, and it will be implemented in the organization. So that way the expectations of the staff are going to be managed and there won't be agitation. Because when it's a wrong thing for organizations not to provide the best practices that would make sure that the space of workers and employees are, and their health and safety is in place. Because when they know that this is what is obtainable and is not the same in their workplace, it's going to cause agitation. They're going to be agitated. They won't enjoy working in that space. But I believe the balance is communication. Once you're able to communicate and speak to the workers that this is what it is and explain why it is not yet implemented, it's very important to let them know why it is not yet implemented, and also give them a timeline when it's going to be implemented. It shouldn't be a norm that you just go about your workspace and you are not able to meet up the best practices. So that's why you have to put a timeline when it's going to be implemented. I hope I've been able to answer the question, Mr. Gabriel.
Yeah, thank you very much, Edith. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
I will also quickly add that organizations can also improvise to serve as an immediate succor or remedial to the concerns. So where we need to move to a bigger place and we are not able to, is there some improvising mechanism that can happen in terms of managing the available space? If the ambience is not that good and we need extra windows, can we improvise by making sure we lighten up rooms, probably change the lighting and the fittings, where the walls are cold and maybe damped, and if we do some structural readjustment, it can give us a lot of headache with the landlord. Is it possible for us to walk around with wallpapers and several other things in order to cover that place and give? The whole idea is not for you to throw your arms in the air and say, you know what, I can't do anything, I'm giving up. No, improvise and ask yourself, what are those simple things I can do that can also help us achieve what we need, whilst we are communicating that this is not permanent, this is where we are headed. But for the meantime, we're improvising to make the environment safer and more conducive for work. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I believe that this has been a wonderful presentation. Thank you very much, Korede. Thank you for... so assuming we need to contact you, we want to hear from you, probably have a session with you. How do we do that? Where can we get your information from?
Okay, I hope you can all see the slide. My email address is here and also my contact number. Or probably have further questions or clarification around workplace health and safety, please feel free to reach out to me via this means, email, contact number. It's on the screen, and I look forward to connecting to as many people that will reach out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm clapping for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
President.
It's been a wonderful day. We'll take a quick break and then we'll be back. Just in case you are joining us, the Pan African webinar holds every last weekend of the month. It's a time where we have some deep reflections, conversations, look at what the month had been like, look into the new month, and then, share some insight from experts um, in several subject matters. We've had Mr. Musa, who gave us a wonderful perspective in emotional intelligence. And that was so prolific because he connected emotional intelligence to performance on the job. And then we've had Korede connect performance on the job to work safety and workplace safety. Who knows? Mr. Francis may connect emotional intelligence to something else with another thing. And of course, we still have Dr. Ayobami who will be joining us soon. So it promises to be an amazing session every weekend, every month. And this is the 23rd edition of the Pan-African Webinar, meaning we've had it for 23 months consecutively, except where we had to take some break in December. But all things being equal, you can be sure that the Pan-African Webinar comes to you every month, every last weekend of the month. Okay, just by way of announcement, that you can still be part of the emotional intelligence and anger management certification combined class. So please do well to get the information. It's showing on your screen. It's actually happening in June, so you have enough time to plan ahead. Um, get in touch with us for your preferred payment plan, something to help you start with. And I'm very sure that we will do something about that. Secondly, do not miss the live business and executive coaching certification class. This cohort is going to be loaded because we have an array of seasoned speakers. Dr. Rotimi Matthew from the Chartered Institute of Coaching and Mentoring Nigeria will be with us. We have Coach Maimuna Umur Abdullahi, who will be joining us, also popularly called Coach Didi. And of course, Dr. Naharo Okai will be joining us. So please ensure that you register. It's going to start Wednesday 15th to Sunday 19th April. Seka Life coaches already are enjoying a discount. They'll be paying 200,000 to do the refresher course. And if you're joining us for the first time, you will be paying 500,000. However, we still have a payment plan that will work for you. So get in touch with us for your payment plan. Ask us, what can I do to get into that class? I cannot miss these area of speakers. And of course, Coach Sam Obafemi will be there himself. So it will be a 5 days of powerful learning, powerful session all day, immersive from Wednesday to Sunday. Do not miss it. It's very, very important that you attend. Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay. We'll take a break, just 2 minutes break so that we can cool off, grab something, stretch, and then we'll move right into the next session. We still have 2 more speakers to go. Mr. Francis Arihilam will be here with us, and of course, Dr. Ayobami Olugbenga-Wyse will also have his session. I look forward to those 2 powerful speakers, and I'm sure you do. I will come back to you in the next 3 minutes. Till then, enjoy the sessions we've had. Share the link with a friend. Join us at the Pan-African Webinar March edition. I'll be with you shortly in the next 3 minutes. Thank you. Okay, yes, we are back for the final two sessions. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I like the topic and the trajectory we've gone today. We've dealt much on emotional intelligence and the emotions and things around it, well-being, mental well-being, physical well-being, and all of that. And the next two speakers are amazing. They are amazing, and I can't wait to hear them. Dr. Ayobami, are you here with us, sir? How are you doing? Good morning, sir. I know you've been on the call since we started. Yes, I know you've been on the call since we started. How are you doing? Yes. Dr. Ayobami is a prolific communicator. He's a powerful trainer. He's an expert in management consulting. He's a strategist. He's a researcher. He is a peak performance expert. He's a coach. Um, he's a financial. I'm just looking for the right word to best describe him because when you look at his profile and background and achievements and a lot, you just be like, oh, I'm just a small boy that is starting. And I'm just wondering, how am I going to overtake Dr. Ayobami? Dr. Ayobami, can I be like you when I grow up, sir? Okay, I'm just joking. But then Dr. Ayobami is world class. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to read a few things about him, and then we will have Dr. Ayobami. I said it. I said it. Each time he comes on camera, you will just be like, wow, what is this? Amazing. The glasses, the haircuts, there's just something about him. And you're just like, what? I would just come and maybe take the wristwatch and add it to my collections of Diamond, if you don't mind. Yes, he is widely recognized as the Purpose Doctor. He's a distinguished human capital development and high performance expert whose work spans corporate leadership, personal mastery, organizational growth, and talent development. He's a passionate advocate for personal and professional clarity. He's celebrated for his ability to help individuals, organizations unlock potential, enhance productivity, and drive sustainability. Dr. Bambi is resourceful. He's a human resource professional. He's certified business management consultant. He is certified career analyst. He is a life coach. He's an LLP practitioner. He's certified in brand strategy, communication. The list is long, and I'm not sure it's ending soon. Dr. Ayobami, good afternoon, sir. How do you do these things? Please tell me, show me way. How do you do it, sir?
Let me just say, do it the second way, right? That would obviously be the smart answer to give at this point in time. I'll just say I do it the second way. So we just, I mean, second now. So we just the lead we follow. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir, for
Thank you.
joining us. Thank you. I hope you're enjoying the weather. We don't know whether it's going to be cold or hotter.
It,
One at a day is raining, the other is very hot. You really cannot predict
absolutely.
the weather this time.
Absolutely. But I mean, we're trying to stay as hydrated as we can as much as possible.
Thank you very
It's
much.
the
You
way
have
to
the
go.
floor, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here as always. I want to say a big thank you to the entire team at SECA from the very, very top. Talking about Coach Sam Obafemi, and as well as, of course, the amazing Stella, and to the rest of the entire team from OBK to Korede and the likes. As always, amazing job being done here. 23 editions talking about the Pan-African webinar. And it's such an opportunity, for speakers like us to be able to grace, the platform and continually share from, a wealth of experience, thoughts, opinions, and then of course, to leverage other speakers too as well in terms of their wealth of experience too. So to all other speakers that have spoken ahead, I want to say we do appreciate you. Thank you so much for the time given from Sodium Speaks, amazing person, as well as Korede for that great presentation. Okay, so we just hit the ground running. If you can hear me loud and clear, please put on the chat box, put a 1 very quickly, that you can hear me loud and clear. That just helps to help me. Yes, put on the chat box 1. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you very much for the reactions I'm getting. Super excited about that. Okay. And then, of course, if you can see my screen, you can then, of course, put a 2 in the chat box too as well. If you can see my screen, please put a chat box, put a 2 in the chat box too as well. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Amazing. All right. So I won't take so much of our time. I know the time allotted. Do the most that I can to work within, the time given. I'll be speaking around wellness and work-life harmony. If you just give me just a second. All right, so sincere apologies about that. So we're talking about wellness. Wellness can be, interpreted in different ways. So looking at your entire well-being, as a whole. I'll be talking, and it's just, it's just interesting as to the fact that everything has been spoken about so far as linked towards this as a combination, from emotional intelligence from the very first speaker, linking it up with peak performance, to occupational safety from the second speaker, also linking that with, performance levels too as well. And now we're looking at wellness, your entire well-being and work-life harmony, and seeing how we can link this to as well, to your level of performance. And you don't want to miss, because I'll be sharing some amazing insights just before the end of this, as to some practical, tools and steps that we can use to activate, optimize, our level of well-being, our wellness, as well as our work-life, balance as a whole. So basically, I'm going to be sharing thoughts around how we can, have some kind of refresh, to recharge and find a way to renew ourselves. Because I mean, the human body is made up of cells. Of course, Korede will be in the best place to tell us exactly, the number of cells that make up, the entire human being and the human body, and it tells you how important it is to keep those cells active, to keep those cells alive. Because the more you're able to keep them active and alive, then of course your entire being is functional. And then more importantly is the fact that, the cells require a kind of a renewal, all right? Just the way the ego, renews, finds a way to renew, and some animals find a way to renew and all of that. The human being too has to learn how to condition their minds, condition their beings, their bodies, and all of that to find that way to renew. It's the only way we can soar. Even the great book puts it. It's the only way we can find ourselves soaring as eagles, being able to run without getting weary, being able to walk without fainting, and all of that. Your ability to find your renewal spot as a human being. I mean, look at what is going on around the country and in the world as a whole. If we don't have the knack, the skills, the awareness, to be able to find that level of renewal, then we're going to be in trouble. We're all going to be in trouble. So because things will continually take from us on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, there's something that is, threatening, with your peace of mind, something is threatening and with your financial stability, something is threatening with your family and all of that. And so every bit we need to just find a way to just say, you know what, this cannot have the better of me. I'm just going to find a way to renew that strength, find a way to renew myself, and find a way to be able to keep pushing along. Okay, so Obike has done the honors to actually introduce me. Sorry about this. I think, yes, Obike has actually found a way to actually introduce me as to what I do. But basically, it's just simple. I'm a learning and development expert, as a whole, generally everything that has to do with helping to transform lives, transform, business and organization is what I live for and I stand for, basically. So whether it has to do with branding, whether it has to do with leadership and business, and all of that, I'm very much into it and ready to roll. All right. So today it's not something about learning that new thing, as it were, because most of you probably know everything that I'm about to talk about, but it's just probably going to serve as a reminder, of what your bodies or your minds have always known, but you've probably neglected, and how you can begin to put them back into remembrance so that you can have that refresh, you can have that recharge, and you can have that renewal. All right. So, and then of course, the goal is pretty simple, and it's basically to just help us every single way. We just want to find a way to, find this intention, ability to, no, it was actually sodium, the stop, framework, by Goldman, when he talked about, your ability to pause, intentional pauses, from work demands, intentional pauses to help you prioritize over your overall well-being is so important. It's what separates, you from where you are and where you need to get to next, and all of that. So, and then of course, we're going to be, looking at how we can equip you, with practical and actionable tools for stress management, mindfulness, and healthy routine development that you definitely, want to learn about. So let's get the ball rolling, ground rolling. And the big question I have here is, what is that one thing that you ensure gets charged every day? All right. I mean, this is probably just speaking to you immediately. What is that one thing between these two, that you ensure gets charged every day? And I want very honest, very, very honest, answers in the chat box. Very, very honest answers in the chat box, please. All right. What is that one thing out of these two, that you have on the screen here that you always ensure? Oh my goodness. I like that. I should have probably put that third one there, Mr. Musa. We were talking about your stomach, right? Amazing. I should have put that there. I probably would just make that amendment to put a 3. So it creates the engagement that I'm getting right now. Fantastic. So we have the phone, phone actually, yes. I mean, it's amazing. A lot of people, the moment they get out of bed, even no matter how disciplined you are with your routine, in your mind, there you're already thinking, what's the percentage my phone, is at the moment? I hope it's not going to die on me, and you're going to check it. In fact, it's so strange that if I do a quick, roll call, and I said to you, and I probably will do that now, can anybody tell me without looking at their phones what they think their phone battery level is right now? Don't look at your phones. Put it in the chat box. What do you think your phone battery level is? What percentage is your phone battery level? Just type it in the chat box very quickly without looking at your phones. Just imagine, think, tell me. All right, work with the range. You could say maybe around approximately. Okay, fantastic, Stella. Thank you very much, ma'am. 70. Okay, Mr. Musa says 30. Okay, 40, 45. Okay, fantastic. I mean, you just all have an idea of what your phone battery level is. So can someone tell me, for those of you that put it in the chat box, can you tell me, look at your phone right now, how many of you came so close or even got it absolutely perfect? For those who said 70, for anyone who said 30, 45, and all of that, tell me, I came close. Oh, fantastic. It tells a whole lot. And I'm going somewhere with this. How we are conscious, about what this device, is in terms of its state. How we're so conscious about it. 39 came close. Fantastic. I like that. I came close. My phone is 29. This is saying a whole lot. It tells you it's the power of the conscious mind, right? And the subconscious working too as well. You're able to tell almost in perfection the battery life of a device. Hi, this is very scary, right? Because I'm going somewhere. Because if that's the case, the question you probably need to ask yourself, is, are we doing the same thing with our lives, with our bodies? Because how we treat this device, is scary. The amount of importance, that we give this device. Most of us treat this device like it's precious life support. Like, if we don't do anything about this, everything goes bad, everything goes south. It's like we're going to lose our minds, we're going to lose our businesses. And yes, valid. Yes, you may be very right and true and correct. Very valid. We monitor, the battery level. We go as far as even getting power banks, just to ensure that we don't lose out on anything. We begin to panic at less than 10%. All right. Now, I want anybody to put in the chat box, that's my next engagement with you. At what battery level do you begin to panic and say to yourself, I need to charge my phone, I need to charge my device? At what battery level? Everybody's own is different, surprisingly. It's not only when you see red. There are some people that there's a certain percentage that their phone battery level hits, and then all of a sudden they start getting very, very restless. What is that one for you? Put in the chat box. All right, put in the chat box 10. Okay, Mr. Musa, fantastic. Thank you very much. 10%. The moment you see 10%, you're thinking, no, I need to get this phone charged. I might get into trouble. I probably may not be able to order that ride or get a response from that person, and all of that. Thank you, Mr. Kunle, for that one. 10%. It seems to be almost 10% for a lot of people. For some people, it might just be 5. For some people, maybe 20. For some other people, it's 30. What exactly is that percentage level for you that you say to yourself, my goodness, I cannot afford not to get this really, really charged? Okay, so interesting, right? So the question I probably have for us right now is, how are we treating ourselves? How exactly are we treating ourselves? With the way I've, buttressed how you've been treating this device. How do you treat the owner of this device? Do you give your own energy the same respect? Do you give yourself the same consciousness? Do you give yourself the same attention? Do you regard yourself as much as the way you regard this? How you're able to tell off, without even looking at your device, what battery level your phone is? Are you able to tell exactly, what your energy level is? Because everyone has an energy level and it keeps depleting or increasing depending on how, we live our lives on a daily, right? We expect ourselves to run at 100%, every day. We just have this assumption in our heads that we're 100% intact. People are asking, how are you? I'm fine. I'm 100%, 100. You hear that statement, 100, 100. Are you truly 100? Are you truly 100, really? Think about it. All right. As you have meetings, deadlines, travels, caregiving, problem solving, business strategies, yet we only recharge when we are reminded or we are forced to. And when I mean forced to, it means like sometimes we are conditioned to a message from a doctor, almost passing out, a tragic incident that reminds us that, oh my goodness, I need to go do a checkup. I need to probably, ask myself some real questions. These are the things that condition us to know what our own internal battery is. And then we can tell this even without looking at it. We top our phones multiple times a day because we don't want it to deplete, past a certain level, even the week and all of that. And this speaks volumes to us. So if we would not let this happen to our phones. The question you need to ask yourself is, why do you let this happen to you, to your mind, to your body as a person? This is the real reflection or reflective, statement or thought that I'm bringing to us today, particularly. This is the foundation for getting our well-being and our wellness state, intact, that we begin to pay the right attention. Anna Lamotte said it in a very amazing quote, food for thought for you to think about. Says almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, and that includes you. I don't know, what does this mean to you, this particular statement? Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. Please put in the chat box, in the chat session. And so far, if this is really resonating with you so far, I want you to put a comment in the chat box. Just put a 1, put your favorite emoji, whatever it is, please just let me have your reaction so far in the chat box. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes. All right, including you. Very interesting food for thoughts right there. All right, and this is exactly how we need to begin to pay attention to ourselves. So very quickly, as much as I do not have that much time to be able to ask everyone to get on this, but this is something that you can take a snapshot, of with your device and get back to doing. And I hope you really do get back to doing it, because you need to check your wellness temperature. You need to check your well-being temperature. All right, get on the scorecards and begin to analyze exactly where and how and if you actually need that recharge. You need to check your energy and fatigue, by asking yourself some real questions. If you wake up feeling physically refreshed most days, how would you rate it? Do you wake up feeling physically refreshed most days? Most days, that's the underlying, phrase here, most days. All right, I can get through my day without feeling constantly drained or exhausted. On what level, from 0 to 3, can you score yourself? All right. Now we'll go down to your mental and emotional balance, which is so key. I'm able to focus and think clearly without feeling scattered or overwhelmed. On a scale of 0 to 3, what would you say about yourself? All right. For some of you, you can do a quick, as I read it, you can do a quick analysis, and then score yourselves. Okay. And then, of course, still looking at your mental and emotional balance. I manage stress in a healthy way before it builds to a breaking point. Is this you? And if it's you, on what level? From 0 to 3. If it's not you, that's a 0. If it's you completely, that's a 3. If it's you in between, it's either a 1 or a 2. Okay? Now, when I'm talking about rest and recovery, I take short breaks during the day that actually help me to reset. I mean, Korede was talking about it, OBK was mentioning it as regards some organizations thinking about how to create that reset culture, in having those moments. Some organizations are beginning to adopt it right now, which is very important. Or I regularly do at least one activity that recharges me physically or mentally. What activities do you do that recharges you physically, that recharges you mentally? You see some people getting on a board game in terms of chess. You see some people getting on their phones. When I see people getting on the phone and they're trying to play some games on the phone for a bit, all right, I don't see that as if it's a waste of time, because you don't know if it's their reset and recovery mode activated at that point in time. It's when there is excessive of this in terms of time management and all of that, that becomes an issue. All right. Then, of course, mood and resilience. You need to ask yourself, my mood is generally stable. I don't feel on the edge most of the time. Is this you completely at a 3? Or is this you not at all at a 0? Okay. And then, of course, when I feel stressed or tired, I listen to those signals instead of pushing through. That means you listen to yourself. Self-awareness, Sodium Speaks actually spoke about that earlier, as part of the level, your state of emotional intelligence. All right. So what exactly are you? Or let's talk about your connection and your support levels. I feel connected to people who support or energize me. Do you feel a lot irritable most times? Your connection level has dropped. You have nothing, no feeling whatsoever. Then that probably is a 0. But if it's super good, that's a 3. All right. Then in terms of meaning and motivation, I feel a sense of purpose or motivation in my daily routine and my work. It's a real question of self, fulfillment, and attainment. It's this explain who you are. 0, not at all true for me. 1, occasionally true. 2, mostly true. 3, completely true. You need to analyze yourself, score yourself, get a total possible score, in terms of the questions. And then, of course, you see exactly where you rank. So if you're going to be checking your wellness temperature, just like a battery, just like a device battery that we started with, all right, when you were able to tell that your phone was 30 or 70, was 90, whatever, all right, you should be able to tell after you're done getting the percentage or your point score from those questions. I mean, it's just a quick one, okay? And should I also put a disclaimer that this is not completely, true at 100% in terms of the scientific feel of this, but of course, it's has the possibility and capacity to bring you close to what you need to know about yourself per time. All right. So are you the type, maybe you're really scored so low where you're running on empty, practically running on empty? I beg your pardon, please, while I try to, you see what I'm saying? All right. Recharge my laptop. Okay. And that's exactly what it is. I can see the battery signaling to me, that it's quite low. And then I need to recharge. So yes, back. So running on empty or hanging in there or getting back or really energized or you're fully charged. All right. There is an interpretation to all of these things. Because if you're running on empty, you're running on reserve. And that means that you need help to actually recharge and need to do it intentionally. Or if you're just hanging in there, all right, it means that you're operating right, but not optimally. A little reset could actually create a big shift for you. And then, of course, if you're at that place where you're getting back, meaning you're in a healthy range, the goal is, to at least maintain or actually keep topping up one way or the other. Just keep topping up, especially with a demanding place like Nigeria, all right, or the city of Abuja or Lagos, as it were, or energized, where you stay focused, having a great day to actually keep pushing. But I like those that are fully recharged, are fully charged. You know what I say about the fully charged people within this range? You're not only fully charged for yourself, but you're fully charged even for others. And that's the beauty of it. Most of us do not realize that ability to keep the battery full, all right, for our lives is not only for our lives alone, it's also for those that are connected to us, our team. For those of you that are operating on the leadership scale, management scale, your energy level, a lot of people would need to feed up. You will become at some point, as you continually ensure that you're fully charged, become the power banks for others to actually thrive on. I don't know if somebody understands what I'm saying. If you totally understand and it makes sense to you, please put a 1 in the chat box. If you're getting value so far for what is being actually shared there, please put a 1 in the chat box to be sure that you are totally following and a part of this. I am in the chat room ensuring that we have people that are a part of today's session completely. If you're getting value, please put in the chat box. Yes, fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for the reactions and the feedback. So you need to get yourself fully charged, not for you alone, but for those that are connected to you. Somebody having a bad day, they need to feed off your energy. Then we talk about energy continuum, and it's part of emotional intelligence. All right, whether you actually will definitely one way or the other, all right, will dispel that energy. So if you are going to be an energy dispenser, then you have to constantly have yourself charged. If not, somebody's going to take off you and you become even in a very worse state than even they are. So this is exactly what we're talking about. What is your battery life? What is it like? You need to constantly ask yourself. Just like your phone battery, okay, beg your pardon, just like your phone battery, your energy is data. Every time you look at the phone battery and it gives you a figure, it's data, right? It's telling you something. Oh, my phone is, at the level where it's going to be functional for maybe the next 30 minutes, the next 1 hour. All right. The same way, your energy level is data. It's telling you if you're able to function at your optimum for the next maybe 30, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Can you go on a run? Can you go 2 days, 3 days? All right. Your stress trigger is also data. It's telling you something. You need to listen to yourself. You need to pay attention to yourself. Your anxiety level too as well is data. How anxious you are. I mean, Sodium spoke about that earlier too as well. Anxiety is a trigger, it's a sign, and it's data too as well. So every time we feel that, probably low energy or a bit of stress or and we're anxious and all of that, never take it as weakness. Take it as information. Never take it as weakness. Never see that, me of all people, I should not be seen that I'm tired. I should not be seen that I'm weak. I should not be seen that It can be seen because you're human. You are human and you need that information so that you can do something with it. It's not weakness, it's information for you. The goal is to manage our energy with the same respect and intentionality that we give to our devices. And that's what we're talking about today. So, one way, quick way, Sodium spoke about this earlier, is your ability to be able to rejuvenate your cells. One of the fastest ways to keep the cells in your body active and rejuvenated is to constantly breathe. Why? Because oxygen is one of the tools that the body requires for optimum functionality. The brain requires oxygen. Your heart requires oxygen. Your cells require oxygen. Your pores require oxygen. Your skin requires oxygen. Everything about you requires oxygen. To speak, you need air. So you need to learn how to practice. And he took us through and told us to take that deep breath in earlier today, which is absolutely great. It helps to reduce cortisol, improves focus, regulates your nervous system, which is absolutely important. So we have this box breathing, system that you can actually, put to work. Very easy. It will help you never, it's something that's easy to help you remember and you actually never forget. You inhale for about 4 seconds. All right. We're going to practice this now very quickly before I move on to the tools that I want to share very quickly. And OBK, you can do me all the good in the world to let me know how many minutes I have left. You can put that in your private chat with me on WhatsApp. All right. So you're taking air for about 4 seconds. All right. You hold it for about 2 seconds. You exhale slowly for about 6 seconds and then repeat this process about 2 to 3 times. You do this round the clock, all right? Just to keep your cells, your body, your nervous system alive, all right? So I'm going to ask everybody on the call right now very quickly, join me in this. We're going to do this together, all right? The box breathing, we're going to do it together. If we're ready, put in the chat box, I'm ready. I'm ready. Put in the chat box, I'm ready. If you're ready for this, put in the chat box, I am ready. And then we can go for it. I'm going to actually coordinate this very quickly and then we'll move into the final and concluding part of my session. All right, put in the chat box, I am ready, I am ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. I want to know those that are ready. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Musa, I'm ready. Thank you, Korede, I'm ready. Mr. Kunle, I do appreciate, I am ready. Okay, the fact that I have about at least 3 people on myself, it's good enough for us to go. Quickly, I want anyone and everyone on this call to take a deep breath in for 4 seconds. Are you ready? All right, let's go. Hold. Exhale gently in 6 seconds. We're going to do this about 2 more times, okay? Are you ready now? And this time around, I would only use my hands to direct you because I need to practice too as well, okay? So 1, 2, go. Let's take deep breath in 4 seconds. Good. All right, one more time, one more time. All right, one more time. Are you ready? Take a deep breath in 4 seconds. Let's go. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Let's celebrate ourselves in the chat box. Celebrate ourselves in the chat box. Just put in the chat box. Just celebrate yourself in the chat box very quickly. All right, for that practice, celebrate yourself in the chat box. And let's move on. All right. So we're going to get into part where we need to make out time for what truly matters. Making out time for what truly matters. So, I mean, to be very honest with you, I tend to always ask with the realities and peculiarities of our jobs, our families, our culture, we call it black tax in our culture, personalities, our environments, is work-life harmony, to be honest, is it realistic and achievable? Or is it like this idea that we keep chasing but can't attain? I want some very honest opinions in the chat room. Is work-life harmony with the peculiarities and realities of our environment? Just put a yes or a no in the chat box, in the chat box, in the chat box, in the chat box. I want to know those who are still with me on this. In the chat box, let's put it in the chat box. All right. Are we on this call at all? In the chat box, a yes or a no. Is work-life harmony, is it realistic? Is it achievable? Or is it some, illusion that we just can't, or a bubble that we just can't, get out of? Really, let's be very frank with ourselves. Okay, yes, okay. Yes, yes, thank you very much. Can I get 2 more comments? Is it achievable? Is it realistic? Is it attainable? Let's be very honest with ourselves. And I'm asking you to make this, to personify this. All right, in terms of your kind of job, your own kind of job. Somebody will say, you say workplace is achievable. I come and do my own kind of job. Come and do my own. I give you my job for 5 minutes. Then you tell me if it's realistic. All right, which is true. We need to probably, understand that for everyone, whatever they are going through and all of that is absolutely valid. Okay, is it? Yes. All right, we're getting reactions that yes, it is. So if it is, then it means that there are ways for us to manage it. First things first is that evidence-based strategies for work-life harmony starts with you, being able to separate what you have control over from what you do not have control over. We say these things a whole lot. Remember, I said I'm not going to be saying anything that it's not like that is new or things that you do not know already. But it's a reminder that truly, how conscious do you constantly remind yourself as to for every incident that you experience, as for every step you take, as for every decision you make, as for everything you do, did you carry out those things within your circle of control or out of your control? And some people tend to ask me sometimes that is it possible that we move things that are out of our control into our circle of control? And I say, yes, it's absolutely possible. There's something, it's called the circle of influence. So the circle of influence, the middle circle there, the circle of influence, is where you're able to move things from your circle where you have no control over and you move it into the circle where you have total control over it. That circle of influence is what we call emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is what gives you the power as you grow, as you improve, as you begin to become more self-aware, as you begin to, improve on your social awareness, on building good relationships. Yes, that which you didn't have control over before, you can begin to have control over it with time. So everything you're actually faced with, all right, always ask yourself, do I have control over it? Oh, it's about to rain. My car is bad, all right? Do I dwell within my circle of control or the one that is out of my control? To start worrying over it, to say, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to me, this and that, is to stay within your circle where there is no control. And it's a total waste of time. It zaps you, it drains you, it stresses you, all right? And begin to ask yourself, what do I have influence over? Do I have influence over a good relationship? To make a call and say, I need to get somewhere now. What can you do for me? And someone says, I'll be there in 2 minutes to pick you up. It means that you have built your level of relationship emotionally intelligently to a point where you're able to move that situation where it was out of your control into your circle of control. So I say to people, when things are out of your control, it's only out of your control because you don't have the influence to wield it back into your control. And it's not a bad place, right? It's just an awareness thing to say to yourself, there is work to be done. There is work to be done. There are some things that you're going through, stressed out, overworking yourself, not being able to delegate things because either you don't have people to delegate to, or you've built a poor relationship with people that even when you delegate it, they will ruin it for you and all of that. So you need to work within your circle of influence, control, and concerns. Okay? So that's exactly it. So as you carry out your task, as you actually manage your emotions, you have to constantly speak to yourself as to how you manage your circles of control. So very quickly, 5 hacks. 5 hacks as I wrap things up, and I'm not going to be taking so much of our time. 5 hacks to help us, all right, to be able 5 hacks to be able to create a work-life harmony that I've always desired, to be able to create a level of wellness and well-being for ourselves. The first one we call the 90-20 rule. The 90-20 rule is your ability to practice deep work. All right? Your ability to practice what? Deep work. It's so important. It is so important. I mean, scientifically, it's been proven that a lot of people cannot stretch their level of concentration past 90 minutes. Maybe that's why a game of football is 90 minutes, right? I mean, that's another thing. That's a beautiful, probably giving someone an idea on how to talk about the power of concentration for a football match. Okay, 90 minutes, is that level. For some people, they've not even been able to build it up to that. For some people, it's 15 minutes of deep work, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. For some, it's 1 hour. No matter how much of a specialist you are, or if a workaholic you are, all right, scientifically it's been proven that 90 minutes is it before a break. All right. Ideally, give yourself some deep work. Put everything aside and say, I need to achieve something reliable, reasonable within the next 90 minutes. 90 minutes. All right. Then the 2 minutes transition ritual is one of the ones I love so much. Now, a lot of times, and I'm going to say this to you that will make sense in the easiest and the simplest of ways. How many of you know how it is on our device or on our system where we've opened so many tabs? All right. On our phones, we've opened so many apps, right? So it means that we're not closing our apps to say, I am done with this app, and then I move on to another app. So we have apps that are running on the background. When you have apps running on the background, it is taking from this phone its energy, its space, everything. So even though you have a particular app on your screen that you're constantly working on, you have other apps at the background that are constantly running. So this is what happens to us when we are working in between different tasks and different things, projects. Usually we need to say to ourselves that this task is done. Create a 2-minute transition and then move to a new task so that our brain will shut that down, all right, and increase our energy level for the new task. Most times, our energy level is depleted. So we want to give our all to this present task, but our minds, our bodies, our energy level is still on the previous task because we've not shut it down. So we need to learn how to shut a previous task down and say, I am done. And there are different ways to do that. Some people, by practice can get a sheet of paper. I have this, notepads on my table sometimes. And you can do that. Just pick one of the papers there. I am done with writing this proposal, blah, blah, blah. I'm moving to the next task of doing this. I write it out. The moment it's written out, all right, immediately my brain tells me that task is done, at least for now. I take that, boom, bin it. It's part of neuro-linguistic practices, all right? You bin it, and your brain is telling you that you're binning that. That's done. So whatever new task you're doing, your mind is fully on it. So it's either you write it down or you say it to yourself, or you get up from that table. Getting up means I have stopped doing that task, right? I am moving into a new task. So you move around, take a few steps for 2 minutes, all right? Move away even from that office space, if you can, to a new office space, to say hi to someone or whatever, or take a phone, call someone that shuts down that fact that you're done with that task, then move into another task. Even if you have so much time on your hands, don't overlap tasks by jumping into another task without shutting down a new task because you're draining yourself of energy. Then the good enough principle is another thing whereby for those that deal with a lot of this perfectionism thing, all right, it helps you to say, I've done well enough for this. It's good enough. I can improve on it. So these are things that we need to learn. Then the digital boundaries is something that a lot of us need to learn. There are times during the day that I deliberately put my phone on silent. Don't get me wrong, you don't understand it. There are times that I've said to myself, I don't want to hear my phone ring. It's digital boundary. You need to draw lines for your sanity, your peace of mind. It's so important. So there are times I say to myself, I don't want to hear my phone ring. I don't want to hear my ringing tone. I don't. So my phone is on silent. It's just deliberate. It's intentional. So you need to learn how to create those digital boundaries for yourself. No notification windows, whatever it may be. I mean, Mr. Sodium spoke about it earlier, which I like, is the fact that when a message comes on your phone, does not mean you must respond to it immediately. Nobody's going to hold. See, that's why I never blame people who use this unread notification thing. No, I don't blame them. You don't know what people have gone through. And so they want to be in control of when I see it or when I want you to think I have seen it. I mean, you don't know what people are going through. So don't just jump to the conclusion and begin to be judgmental. All right. So you need to say to yourself, I want to be in control of when I've seen this message to you. Be in control of when I want to respond to this message to you, because I'm trying to stay within my circle of control, especially except if it is an emergency. I look at it, I need to attend to this. You need it. It's for your own sanity. And then, of course, the last one that I love so much after the 2 minutes transition is the energy mapping principle. Guys, the energy mapping principle is such that you match your task to your natural energy rhythm. So I'm going to say this with me removing these glasses because I need you to get this point. A lot of times, a lot of us, for example, I need to post some content on social media, and then you say, let me do it now. Let me do it now. You don't do tasks because you need to do it now only. You don't do tasks because you feel, if I don't do it now, I may forget. You're not getting it. You don't do tasks because of that. You know why you do tasks? You do tasks when that particular task is worth the energy level that you need to give that task. So if your energy level is at a time of the day where it has dropped, I will then channel tasks that does not need too much energy into it. So social media posts may not be so much of a big deal of an energy work for me. So I will leave it to times where maybe I just want to take a little relaxation on a couch or on a chair. Then I'll take my phone. Okay, let me just post this, beautiful stuff on social media. No, you don't. When your body is on a high, your energy is on a high. Now say you want to take your phone and do some low energy task. Oh, come on, don't waste your energy. Don't waste your energy. If your energy is on the high, you need to match it and map it with a task that is on a high. So is it a business strategy that you've been working on for a bit? Such that you need to write a proposal, it requires a whole lot from you, and your energy is on that high. And we have our different high points of energy. You need to check yours. For some people, it's between maybe as early as 6 a.m., 7 a.m. to about 10 a.m. in the morning. For some people, the peak at 2 p.m. in the afternoon to about 4 p.m., high energy. Some have it at different times of the day. Some their next energy level is 7 p.m. at night till about 10 p.m. Some their high energy is by 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning. So you need to know where your high energy levels are, and then you mark it and map it with high energy tasks. And the low energies, you can put it, I need to respond to messages, I need to make a phone call. Put it at low energy times sometimes. Hibernating periods, as it were. And then you will be grateful for it. So I hope you got the message. All right. So ask yourself, what is that one practice you'll start to do today? What is that one habit you'll begin to modify? What is that one boundary that you would like to keep? And then, of course, what is your daily 5 minutes recharge ritual that you want to start working on? What is that wellness accountability, or who is that wellness accountability body that you want to also work with? It's okay for you. It's optional, but it's okay for you to actually work with anybody, that you want to call your wellness buddy, someone that ensures that, you keep your energy, you're doing high energy tasks during high energy moments, and all of that. So what does your well-being mean to you? For me, wellness is not a luxury, all right? It's a necessity. It's not a luxury, it is a necessity. And at this point, I'm going to ask everyone, because this is usually my practice, all right? We're going to take these words of affirmation. Feel free if you want to unmute yourself and say after me. But if you don't want to unmute yourself, that is also fine. But say this after me and say it consciously, say it intentionally, all right? Are you ready? Are you ready? I want to put in the chat box, ready, 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 ready. Put in the chat box, ready, 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 ready. Fantastic. I see the reactions. Yes. Put in the chat box. Fantastic. Ready. Great. Okay, let's do this. I choose wellness with intention.
I choose wellness with intention.
And protect what fuels my strength.
And protect what
fuels
my strength.
I create space for clarity.
I create space for clarity.
Calm and harmony every single day.
Harmony every
single day.
I live, work, and rest in alignment.
I live, work, and rest in alignment.
And I thrive because of it.
And I thrive
because of it.
And it pays to be wise.
And it pays to be wise. Yes, I concur.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the time as always. Thank you very much, Seka Africa. Thank you very much, the entire team. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm not sure we understand.
Thank you.
This is just a powerful session. Wow. That's what I've been saying. Anytime there's a Dr. Ayobami, I'm asking myself, okay, is it possible for me to clone him? Take out his brain, fill it inside my own, because he has a way of coming at an issue from another dimension. See the way he came to the issue of what? Recharging. Your phone is at 100%, but I am at 1%. How cool is that? It's not cool. So recharging, ensuring that my energy level is not depleting and that my energy level is 100%. Just like we would love our devices to be working perfectly, we too should be working perfectly. Those are my takeaways. Yes, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Musa said he loves the concept of charging. And I like what you said, sir, that so there's a way you mentioned it about power bank that many of us don't know we actually power banks for others. That others deliberately run themselves down because they know I can always pick his brain. That's the danger. Is he not so and so? I can always pick his brain. I can always call him up. He will always save my day. So you see, people who consciously, they know that business will fail. They'll be like, even if it fails, I can always call my brother. I know he will come through for me. So they have consciously built power banks, deliberately running their own battery because they have power banks. Maybe that's another dangerous part of it. That's deliberately trying to say, okay, I know he's lonely. And then on the flip side, there are those of us who have become vulnerable power banks. Oh, I want to be happy with everybody. I want to help out everybody. I want to be the good person, the Father Christmas, the Mother Christmas. Just come and charge from me. Don't worry, the Lord will replenish me. No, we are not doing anything.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. This is so insightful. Wow, thank you. And I like that our conversation has centered around emotional intelligence. You see, emotional intelligence. This is one reason why you cannot miss out the emotional intelligence class happening in June. Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. If we understand that emotional intelligence part, we will not be competitive. We will not even know whether there's a competition going on. Because sometimes I think people get into that competition mindset because they are not emotionally aware of their own competencies, their capacities. They are not lost in their self, not like they are selfish, but they are not lost in their abilities, their capacities, their itinerary. They are looking over their shoulder. Oh, what's this person doing? What's the other person doing? Ah, this person doing this person is wearing shoes, this person is wearing sneakers, this one is wearing, and they are lost to the fact that they are putting on something great. So it now becomes drain for them. The energy is sapping. They are now delegating their life to what the other person is saying or what not be saying. So maybe if we become more emotionally aware, we become more empowered humans, that can give without necessarily asking whether anybody is competing with us. Thank you so much. Korede says, thank you so much, sir. It's always an insightful session with you. Dr. Kunle says, thank you, Doc. This is more of a therapy. Yes. Thank you so much. Okay, we'll move straight into the final session. And it has been a wonderful day. It has been a wonderful day. Our next speaker is an amazing person, and you can understand the back-to-back value we've gotten. Mr. Francis is going to put a cap to it, like he's going to just crown it all. You know, the way you do a nice cake and it's not attractive, then you now get the icing and then you design it properly, write the right words and all of that. And when you present it, everybody will be like, wow, where has this been all along? So we've actually kept the best for the last section. Yes, so let me quickly tell us more about Mr. Francis, and then we roll. Thank you so, so much. Yes, I can see you, sir. You look amazing. I'm coming for that light stand, that lamp stand behind you. I've marked it. It's mine. Yes, but it looks nice. It looks nice. Thank you. Okay, just a quick one. Yes, while he is getting set, and while I am planning on how to come and take his lampstand, I'm devising ways for that to come in the morning or in the wee hours of the day and pick the lampstand.
Okay. All right.
Or maybe I should. Okay, so Mr. Francis Arihilam is a Beck Institute trained psychotherapist, behavior management consultant, and certified life coach with certification from Wharton, OLCA, John Hopkins, and a few others. Through his podcast, A Better Way, he holds space for real conversations about anger, love, anxiety, and the silent battles we face in the name of strength. His works blends therapy, neuroscience, and personal truth with a soft tone that allows you to slow down and listen again. Draws on neuroscience, cognitive behavioral therapy, and emotional intelligence research to help individuals and emotions and organizations build resilience, empathy, and healthy behavioral systems through in-house training, group trade sessions, and one-on-one therapy. It looks like the day has just been around emotions. I like it. Francis has worked with clients navigating emotional burnout, relationship conflict, and trauma recovery. His writing and speaking focus on making therapy accessible helps him to distill complex psychological ideas into simple, actionable tools anyone can use. Beyond his clinical work, Francis currently sits as the head of people at Shuttlers, where he drives a people strategy with a focus on building organizational objectives. His core competency cuts across talent acquisitions, process optimization, people improvement, learning and development, people analytics, performance management, compensation and benefit, organizational development, and behavior management in the automotive, management consulting, and non-profit sectors. He was the founding member of AutoCheck, a company that operates in 9 major African markets. He also implemented best-in-class HR pillars and performance management framework anchored around OKR and KPI. He leads mental health and behavior initiatives at Parks and Pura, where he designs programs that foster psychological safety and emotional intelligence in teams and individuals. Please, Mr. Francis, how can I be like you when I grow up? Help my life.
Thank you very much, Obike. That was such an introduction. Thank you very much. I want to also be like you as well.
No,
Thank you very much. Okay, good afternoon, Obike. Thank you so much for that introduction. Ayobami, I listened to your session and I took the breath exercises. Before we start, I just want to confirm that everybody can see my screen and you can see my presentation just to be sure, right? Please, if you can, just give me a thumbs up just so that I'm sure that I'm presenting the right thing. Yes. Can see my screen? Mic check. Can everybody hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, sir. Can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. And you can see my screen too as well, yeah? You can
Yes,
see my
beautiful,
screen.
beautiful.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so um introductions from OBK was centered around my experience in mental health and psychotherapy, but my focus today will be discussing one of the biggest challenge I've had in my 9+ years actively in what you call HR. And one of the biggest challenge I have seen is the challenge of hiring, and not just even hiring, but also retaining top talent. And that's where our focus of discussion will be today. So let us roll, shall we? My first question is, have you ever hired a competent CV before? Anybody? If you're a line manager here, you're a business owner here, you've hired somebody who I consider to be a competent resume. And let me maybe define what a competent resume means, is that this person is fantastic on paper, very good. Like, you had fantastic expectations about this person, but then the person ended up not being what you expected. Anybody here had that experience? Anybody here? Maybe you can drop in the comments. Anybody? I have, and I have also sat in rooms where other people have too as well. Okay, so I'm checking the comments as well. Okay, Ayobami says plenty. Yes, we're all on the same boat, plenty, right? Now, one of the things I've realized is that if I'm not exaggerating, I have sat through more than 500 physical interviews in the whole of my career. Because I started my career first in hiring, and then I pivoted into core HR operations, and then worked across board. And now I'm focusing in certain areas of people and culture. And I can tell you for free that, I have seen one consistent pattern why we hire wrongly, how we end up hiring wrongly, and how we're going to correct it. And that will form what I will be discussing next. So now, I like to call this hiring an A player. There is a science to it. There is a method to it. If you talk to business owners today, or you talk to company CEOs or senior executives, everybody wants to hire an A player. Everybody wants an A player in their team, right? Everybody wants that person who understands the vision, who gets it. who you can go to sleep knowing fully well that this person has you sorted. Everybody wants that person. But what I often see is that sometimes there is a lack of commitment, and I'll use the word lack of commitment, into ensuring that that process is scientific and almost, for lack of a better word, fail-proof or foolproof. And so, now what I've often seen in my 9 years plus career is that the job, the candidate's skill, and the candidate's wills are often separated. You find it difficult to match them. It's like you can't, you find somebody, the job is there, the person has the skill, but you cannot really match it. And this is maybe even 4 months or 3 months into the job, or maybe 2 months into the job. And then you begin to realize that, this person was not just on our team. It was just somebody that just, maybe wanted to earn a living or was just enthusiastic, but it's missing. And I've seen consistently how, first of all, you lose money, you lose time, because anybody who is probably on this call that has been involved in hiring before, you would know how expensive it is to replace a new hire. So what do we do? And how do we solve this problem essentially? The first thing is define the outcome. And when I say define the outcome, as someone who has sat in the seat of hiring managers and also, consulting with hiring managers on how to hire right, on when to hire right, one of the things I hear all the time is, I just want somebody to solve the problem. And oftentimes, HR is relegated or given the responsibility to hire, or rather to write the job description. I want to first of all use this opportunity to say that it is not HR's responsibility to write the JD for the role that you want to hire. The reason is because it is not HR that will be responsible for getting that job done. It is not HR that will evaluate the performance of that person. And I also dare say HR may not have a full picture of what success looks like in real time in that particular job. Now, there's the world of AI. We can punch a few prompts into ChatGPT and Claude, and then it rolls out a job description. That's fine. But I'm of the opinion, and this opinion is backed up by research and data, is that I would prefer that you use what I call a performance scorecard versus just a job description. And what exactly is the difference between these? A job description just says, this is a summary of the role. These are the recurring responsibilities of this role. This person needs to have XYZ competence and must have worked for this XYZ number of years. That's what a typical job description looks like, right? But the danger with that job description? The danger with that job description is that it is generic. It doesn't create room for clarity for you to understand. In the first 3 months on this job, what do I want this person to achieve? That's where a performance scorecard comes in. Now, you can have a job description. That's all well and good. A job description talks about what this person will be doing on a regular basis. But when you contrast that with a performance scorecard says, this is what the mission of this particular role is. The VP of sales is to turn around sales by 10% month on month over the first quarter. You can see that it is not in the job description. Probably in the job description, what you see is that, bring in revenue. But in a performance scorecard, you are stating categorically, what do you expect from this role, whether it is in the long term or in the short term? Now, you now move from just that mission to then stating, what are the key results that you need to see? Maximum maybe 5, minimum maybe 3, that will convince you that this particular mission has been achieved. Because what you're going to be doing is that even if you don't hand out a performance scorecard to a new candidate, or you don't use it as part of your hiring, decision, you have it at the back of your mind. Most times the problem is that you have not communicated it clearly with the new hire, And when you are interviewing the new hire, you don't have these things in front of your mind, so you're probably not asking the right questions. And this person eventually doesn't even know what they are walking into. So they can't even assess whether this is a good opportunity for them, whether they are a square peg in a square hole or a round peg in a round hole. So define the outcome. The second thing is source correctly. I can tell you for free that one of the most effective ways to hire A players is from A players. You know them. They are in your religious places of worship. They are in your personal circle. And you don't need to have a role open for you to create A players. Take, for example, if I'm having a networking session now with Nonso or with Abayomi or with Stella, the first question I want to ask you is, who do you know that is really smart or that is really great at what they do? I'd like to talk to them. You may not necessarily have a role open, but you have what you call a talent pool and a talent bank. And I can tell you that A players know more A players than any other person. Because all of a sudden, Stella says, I know this person. She's really good at what she does. I want to speak to that person. Referrals account for the biggest success rate. Ask anybody who's made a fantastic hire. They will most probably tell you that they had one amazing recruiter who understands the business, or somebody who just said, take this one resume. This guy will do a great job. This lady will do a great job. It's as simple as that. Then research. You want to hire someone and you don't take the time to research about that person. It could just be to go through, the recommendations they have on LinkedIn, or to go through their articles or something, or to just even research for this particular role that I'm trying to hire. What industry works best in this particular role? What industry has a similar structure to what I'm looking for, and which people can go through those industries and they stand a better chance of being successful at this particular role? So this is how you eliminate, right, by a significant margin, errors. Then the next thing is select. I have a personal rule, and my personal rule, you can adapt it. It's fine, it's okay, but test it out and see. Put your interviews as much as you can within your productive hours in the morning. Ayobami did an amazing job talking about your peak periods, right? You know when you are at your most optimal state. In neurolinguistics programming, for example, there are two things referred to as you can be in a resourceful state and in an unresourceful state. When people are in a resourceful state, they produce more results. When they're in unresourceful states, they are more erratic, they make bias-based decisions and all the rest of them. So for example, I don't like having interviews anytime from 2 p.m. downwards. You know why? My brain is tired. I'm probably not asking the right questions. I'm not paying attention. I'm not watching for cues that I should watch out for. So have your interviews with a fresh mind. You will think that this thing is not important, but candidates have the tendency of bypassing what should we call how do I put it now? Your detectors. I don't want to use the word, but the word that is coming to my heart, my mind, my mouth is your bullshit detectors. Pardon my French. When you are tired, when you are not at an optimal state, someone says something and you don't pick it up and you probe more. Also, if, for example, this person is saying all the right words and you are probably tired and you don't have like an interview guide, right? The person may pass your cognitive bias, and that's why you must have all of that. So the next essentially is sell the opportunity. I've seen this in my own personal experience. And when I think back to all the people that I have hired, I have made wrong hires, I've made fantastic hires. And this is from lessons having done this over the course of my career. I have seen that every time I find myself selling the opportunity with excitement, I'm most likely talking to the right person. Because if you're talking to someone and all you have in your mind is, I just want to close this role, this person is, you are taking the barest minimum. every time you are speaking to this person and you are selling the opportunity to this person, what the proof of success is that you've gotten somebody whom you are speaking to that understands what you have to do, and then you want to bring them on board to get it done. So the first is define the outcome very clearly, source through referrals, select, which is prepare extensively for your interview. I can take a whole day talking about selection process, but prepare specifically for these particular sessions and then sell the opportunity. The truth is that when you do all of this, what you will find out is that you will begin to see candidates that all these three things overlap. And at the center of it is somebody whose heart, head, and hand is in the game with you. Let me give you one bonus thing. One question I always ask during interviews is, when you think about this role, I'm simulating now, right? I'm talking to a candidate, and one question I always ask, for anybody who's probably been in an interview with me, they will know I always ask this question. And that question is this: when you think about this role, what is the connection between your future, your personal goals, and this particular job? Do you know what I'm trying to find out? I'm trying to find out if this particular job is part of your journey to where you are going to, which is, by doing this job, it brings you one step closer to your personal goal. Now, if you cannot make the connection very clearly, but you can share with me, right, that connection somehow, what I'm convinced of is that your motivation and your will to do the job will go beyond just earning a pay, but the fact that you are working for yourself. And every time people do things for themselves, they most likely may do it well and better. And somebody will always ask me, what if after a while they leave? People will come and they will go. But before they go, how do we then retain them? Because we all know, or for those of us, people go the extra mile with people they can trust. And beyond just even that, people leave organizations oftentimes because of lack of certain clarities. And those are the things we're going to discuss over the next couple of minutes. So define the outcome, source right, select, and sell. And you'll find all of these success rates all in one. So let's move on. Now we're going into understanding how to retain talent. Because one of the biggest dilemma is we are in a generation where there is a different set of individuals, or I would say generations in the workplace. And understanding that mind gap is a very good place to start. One of the things I've heard so many times that Gen Zs, they are lazy, this, that. Quite all right, some are true. But oftentimes from interaction, sharing examples, I just realized that there is a misunderstanding of expectation and there is a misalignment in terms of what this generation stands for. So let's look at it. Now, there are typically 5 different generations in a workplace. Most times you will find 4, depending on the kind of organizations that you find yourself in. I don't have all the time to go through each of them one after the other, but I'll say between baby bloomers and Gen Zs, you most likely find them in 70% of the organizations that we have around today. Now, what is important to somebody who is a baby bloomer may not be important to someone who's a millennial. For example, a baby bloomer may be more reserved in their communication style. That doesn't mean that they are incompetent or that they don't know how to brand themselves or something. But it may just be how they are raised. Because, for example, if you think about how the human mind works, there are 3 different layers in your brain. There's the reptilian brain, there is the mammalian brain, which is where your limbic system is, and then there's your prefrontal cortex. And all of these brain area develops differently. And as you grow, they change, right? 3 things make up how you understand your environment: significant emotional experiences, upbringing, and your space. Now, for example, these baby bloomers grew in a particular generation. They understood things differently. You cannot compare them with Gen Zs. They will not behave the way Gen Zs will behave. For example, a Gen Z person will expect you to give them feedback on an ongoing basis. It may be frustrating for someone who's a baby bloomer, but that is how information flow works for a Gen Z. A Gen Z is accustomed to exchanging personal experiences in the workplace or something, but a Gen X person embraces what more entrepreneurial spirit and is more result oriented. So understanding this generational gap, investing the time to look at each generation from a unique lens, helps you to, 1, design employee engagement strategies that can cater to each of these generations. It helps you to frame managers that can actually interact with these different generations. Because if you don't understand, what you will do is that you will judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. That is what is often happening in the workplace. For example, you see people in the workplace where they don't understand hierarchy. Oh, they are Gen Zs, they just come, oh, they use anytime, oh, this, we don't use first name basis here. It's a lack of understanding and a mind gap in each of these generations that creates all of this chaos. Because at the end of the day, having sat in my position in HR for as long as I have, almost 70% of the time I spend it coaching, mentoring both managers and direct reports. And oftentimes, communication gap, lack of clarity is often the problem. So, understanding the mind gap. But something else that is really very important is, as a business leader, as a line manager, it's really very important for you to understand, what do talents really want? What do they really want? Is it, monthly TGIFs every Friday? Do they want trainings? What do they really, really want? And so while I was preparing for this, I got a very interesting report from Boston Consulting Group. And this is a comparison between what exactly does candidates rate as important versus what organizations are delivering. So under candidates, for example, good work-life balance rates top. Organizations are deprioritizing it. It's not my word. This is research and data. Excellent compensation and benefits. Organizations are deprioritizing it. And what does excellent compensation and benefit mean? It's not always in money. And I'm going to talk about it in the next couple of slides. Inspiring colleagues and culture. Now, let me stay a little bit on that. I know one thing for sure. High performance will remain in an environment where they have high performance. If the standard of performance in the team is excusable, what you will start to do is you will start to lose your A players because they are looking at themselves and saying, why am I killing myself? I'm going the extra mile, I'm putting in all the work, but it's almost like there's really no difference. And then we talk about culture. Culture is an entire thing on its own. And I'm going to talk about it in the next slide. Open and effective management. Challenging work. I know some people will be wondering, what does challenging work mean? Every A player that you have hired or that you have worked with or that you know today, one thing is common among all of them. They get bored if whatever they are doing does not task them mentally or is not something that challenges them to be better. So I say this to managers all the time and business leaders and heads of departments and just about anybody who leads people is you must create meaningful work to keep your A players. If you have to job rotate at a time, if you have to put them into special projects, if you have to bring them into rooms, but you must consciously make sure that for every single time you are engaging them. And meaningful work is not more load. No. It's not overloading them with all the work in the world. No. It is finding ways to probably optimize repetitive tasks and give them tasks that make them feel like they are doing something that challenges them or gives them that knowledge or gives them that conviction that they are doing something good. Flexible work environments. I mean, this is a no-brainer right now, right? It's a no-brainer. COVID in 2026 years ago changed the entire game. So any organization, any team that is not embracing this can be for one of many reasons. One is that performance management measurement and tracking may be weak and trust index is low because there is the belief that when people are not seen, they may not perform. That can be true, but the question is, what are the frameworks to manage performance that has been put in place to ensure that there's accountability, there's clarity of measurement and reward and discipline when things go bad? So the next is, now when we talk about one thing, I've often said that many organizations and anybody who is in leadership here will agree with me that we are all looking for that team member who will bring their head, their heart, and their hand to work. Now, your head is the knowledge that you have, the experience that you've gathered. Your hand is the skill, the know-how, but the heart, I beg your pardon, right? I've talked about the head, I've talked about the hand, now I'm talking about the heart. The heart, on the other hand, is a commitment to go over and above. And the only way you can get this from anybody is to enter into a psychological contract with them. I have had countless numbers of exit interviews in my career, and I still do. And I have realized that people do not just leave organizations, they leave either dissatisfied teams or they leave bad bosses, or they just find a different exciting career somewhere else. So, is the organization and employee interest aligned? Let's find out. The first question you want to ask is, do talents feel treated fairly? Every time we sweep things under the carpet, people know. They may not speak, but they know. So the question you want to ask yourself is, do talents feel fairly treated? And what does fair treatment mean? We'll find out. The next thing is, what is the management team trust index? When you run an anonymous pulse survey at your all hands in your teams, in your organization, how easy is it for people to stand up and ask questions? When you talk about things, how do you gauge the engagement between managers and teams? Do people just say, well, that's all management they talk, or it's fine, we'll go ahead and we'll do it? Or is there a trust? And trust is a completely broad framework on its own because it has to do with being able to provide clarity, being able to provide motivation, being able to provide support as well. And we're going to look at it. What is the management stroke team trust index? The last thing is, do talent feel their expectations are being met? And what I mean by this is that, now, one of the important things to do, and we'll start from here, is create antecedents, have policies. Now, policies eliminate what you may call black boxes, set the tone for what the organizational climate is. If somebody does something, right, the rules apply. Now, we may not treat everybody the same, but when it comes to very standard disciplinary issues, everybody must be the same. When it comes to policies and practices, there should be consistencies across the board. Research, what are best practices? The organizations that you admire, how are they doing it? Employee experience starts from when they are hired to when they are off-boarded. I often say this to hiring managers, leaders, heads of department, is that the true nature and test of your organizational culture often kicks in when someone resigns. Oftentimes, everybody is all lovey-dovey until somebody is leaving. And then the true nature of the culture probably begins to come up. What does the employee experience look like? Is it that they have to grapple around for information or not? Individual expectation is something else. How are you measuring that individual expectation? Then the next is how, this is now where the contract comes in. Fairness. When you talk about fairness, compensation and benefits, one of the biggest challenges I have also been able to help managers solve is the question of, oh, people are earning different amounts in the organization and it's almost like nobody knows. The only way to solve that is communication and clarity. Don't create black boxes. Get data, support your decision with data, and let them see that what people are earning is an average or a consistent pay across grades and across industries. Where you have inconsistencies, try as much as you can to fix it and fix it very early. The next thing is build trust. And how do you really build trust? Is one, as a leader, be vulnerable. Your leadership does not mean that you're omniscience. It's okay for you to not know, but to also express it in such a way that you gain the trust of your team. The next is clear performance management. Another thing you want to be very clear about is how people get rewarded within the organization. All of these things make up what you call a psychologically safe environment, and you begin to enter into a psychological contract with your team members. Because when they talk to you, they can trust you, that their information will not be a topic of discussion at management meeting. And I'm specifically speaking this way because I believe I'm speaking to people who are leading managers, who are leading people, and who have the responsibility of providing this psychological safety in the workplace. And really, when you do all of these things, what does it eventually lead to? It's very simple. Job satisfaction will go high, commitment will be high, motivation, employee engagement. People will want to stay. Test it out and see. So as I begin to wrap this up, right? One of the things I've seen is that oftentimes there are two, what I call formal and informal organizational structures within teams. And sometimes as managers, we don't see the value of both worlds. And that's what I'm trying to do in this particular slide. The first thing is, your formal organization is about your organizational chart, span of control, policies, all those things. They are interesting. These are the things that are just on the surface that makes the organization work very well. But the iceberg theory tells us otherwise. Underneath this is the informal organization, the real engine that powers everything. Personal anonymities, friendship, grapevine, effective relationship between managers and subordinates, emotional feelings, informal leaders, prestige, power structure, and the list goes on and on and on. Now, if you want to influence change and you want to continually build a workplace where people are retained, you must strategically pay attention to this informal organization. And you are collecting data from interaction, not with the malicious nature to use it. But if you want to know exactly what's happening in grapevine, it's not so that you can use it to punish somebody else, but it's to understand what the climate is. Who are the informal leaders in the organization who people congregate around? Those are the people you want to move change management through. These are the people you want to get into a meeting, explain your ideas, and allow them to spread it across board. You must ensure that there is a rapport between line managers and subordinates. You must also ensure that personal groups, perspectives are held. Personal friendships. You don't discourage people in cliques. Just ensure that whatever is happening in that clique is in furtherance of the organization's well-being, and that it is not used as a weapon against somebody else, because you can't control it. So this is how you use information and knowledge to essentially improve your ability to drive your organization and retain your talent. And then the last, but definitely not the least, is one thing I want to discuss around retaining top talent. Because oftentimes I have seen how managers grapple when something is in quote wrong. Meanwhile, nothing is actually wrong. So I'll give you a typical example. A manager once came to me one time and was saying, "Oh, I don't know what's happening with my team. They're all just fighting. They're all just at each other's throat. I don't know what's happening." And I was like, "Relax. There is a high probability that all is well. The team is just morphing." And what do I mean? First, for every team to be effective, they will first of all form. Now, when people are put together for the first time, there will be feeling of what? Anxiousness. People will feel like, well, we're just getting to know each other. Who is this person? What do their agenda look like? Okay, what does the leader want us to do? Where is the leader trying to go? You can see that even from the design of the diagram up there, you can see that everybody is just all over the place. Then, as time goes on, they begin to storm. Now, you see that it's almost like you are going down. They are storming. Okay, everybody wants to outdo each other. Everybody is disagreeing with each other. They are struggling to establish their own place. Okay, I'm good at this. They are forming cliques. All these things are happening. They are requiring the leader to foster conversations. That is what you then need to start doing. Because as you are observing these things, what you are seeing is that human beings are coming together, understanding themselves. You then need to foster conversations and not leave it to chance. And as you begin to do that, the team is storming, they are congregating. What you start to see then is that the team starts to norm. They begin to work more effectively because feedback is now taken very well. It is taken seriously and not personally. When a team member comes to you with a report about another team member, you are trying to bring them together to have a conversation and understand each other's perspective. They start to respect each other. They start to agree with the rules of the team. Trust starts to enter in. What now happens? They start to make progress and they start to defend each other. And before you know what's happening, they begin to move from that point to a high-performing team. People who you thought used to always fight before, they always used to quarrel, right? They now begin to watch out for each other and they become a high-performing team. I can tell you categorically at the end of the day is that when you have incredibly smart people in the same room, in the same team, chances are that they will go through these different stages. Why? Because they have different personalities. And your job is to understand what is happening, understand the different stages where they are in, and facilitate that entire growth. Right? And this is where I will bring my class to an end today. And I would say the first thing is in hiring, it's important for you to set the goal very clearly, invest time in structuring how the interview process will go, use references, use information, ask open-ended questions, ask behavior-based questions. Previous performance is the best predictor of future performance. So don't gloss over people's history, right? And then as you begin to retain your talent, know that one of your primary job is to understand how the team is working, how you are building trust within that team, and essentially providing clarity of communication and performance management. And that's how you retain your best people. So, any questions? Any questions? And this is where I will bring my session to a close. Any questions?
Wow. Wonderful session. Like, the session is just, I'm looking for the right word. The session is just on point, like top notch. You're just hitting it, addressing it. And I'm wondering, wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good. Senior Dodo said your session was spot on. Powerful session, powerful session. So how do we reach you, sir? You can't just do all the sessions. How do we reach you? How do we reach you?
So let me go back. I mean, I'm on all social media platforms, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, say LinkedIn, WhatsApp. Anyways, LinkedIn, Instagram, with my name. So I'm just going back to put my name here. Once you punch in this name anywhere on Instagram, you'll find me there. On LinkedIn, you'll find my name there. If you belong to the community, I mean, my number is available there. And if you also visit our company website, www.paxcura.co, you'll find more information on how to engage us to run trainings for your organization, because we specialize in these trainings for leaders who are just becoming new leaders, essentially. There's something we call a middle managers fast track program, and we run that for organizations. And also, I have a private practice as a psychotherapist. You find information on how to book a session. So basically, that's how you can find me.
Fantastic. I like the fact that you are bridging psychotherapy to people and organizational culture. And that speaks to the human side of organizational culture and people management. That sometimes in trying to make somebody to get the job done, you also need to ask yourself, what's even going on in this person's brain, in this person's mind? Is there a way I can get into his brain or get into his mind to really understand his brain and mind? That can now tell me why he has been delaying or why he's so spontaneous, What's his motivation? Is his motivation the money promised, or his motivation that by getting that deadline, it adds to his experience, which will count for the new position he's aiming for?
Absolutely.
That ability to get into the brain and really understand, how does this person think in the morning? How does this person think in the afternoon? How does this person think in the evening? It's a lot of work. But then if you're able to read people and understand them, you can actually, to an extent, predict their next possible move. You can. I usually tell that to Korede. When I come to the office, I tell Korede, this is what is going to happen today. This will happen today. This will happen today. This will happen today. I can say up to 90% exactly the way I said it. That is what will happen that day. And at the end of today, she said, how did it? I said, I know. I know. Once I know that will happen today. So I think it has a way of helping you predict what will happen, and you do 5, 7, 10 steps ahead. You are not part of that. Thank you so much, Mr. Francis. Hi. You see why I want to be like you when I grew up.
I want to also be like you too.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you
you
so
very
much.
much.
It has been a wonderful class today. Like,
Yeah. Thank you
the
for the
class
opportunity.
today has just been amazing. From Musa that laid the groundwork. Mr. Musa just gave us a foundational stuff down to you. Everything has just been on emotional intelligence, people management, culture. We just had that deep dive. I don't know if it was a HR conference. This is like the best of it because we have touched on all the meats and bones of HR, people management, culture, all of those things. And it was wonderful. Thank you so much to our speakers. We
Thank
are
you.
very grateful that you gave us your time today. You gave us your weekend. Thank you so much. We promise to be back with another edition of the Pan African webinar next week, next month, the last weekend of next month. Pray for us that we have experts who will come on stage and help us, learn some more. We continue to push, we continue to help people become better. For us as Eka Africa, we just want organizations to be better. We want individuals to be better. We want people to be better. We want your team to be anything at all that will make you better. That is what we are after. We are in your best interest. We are your ally. We are not your enemy. And so do well to sign up for all of our certification courses. Life coaching certification course, I've mentioned it, it's coming up next month. Second life coaches are paying 200K, non-second life coaches are paying 500,000. Or you can plan ahead for your June certification course on emotional intelligence and anger management. Fantastic course. You need to be in that class. Or you can also prepare yourself for the public speaking class, We have zooming in on how to become a powerful event speaker, conference host, event host, MC, those type of public speaking. Speaking to large audience, you have to get into the room for that. So find us everywhere online at MySeka Africa. And of course, you can reach us via WhatsApp or via email at services at sekaafrica.com, or via our website is www.sekaafrica.com. Please do not just listen and go away. Go and apply it. Apply. This recording will be uploaded on Coach Sam's YouTube page. So you can always go there and find all previous Pan-African webinars. And of course, this one, it will be uploaded there for you to, watch and relearn. Thank you so much. We will come back next month with another edition of the Pan-African webinar. It's 1:33 p.m. and I'm happy we kept to time. From me to you from Abuja, thank you so much. I don't know if my boss has anything to say, but Stella, do you have anything to say, ma, before we close?
No, BK, well done. We can close.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very much. We will continue. Yes. The YouTube, okay, for the YouTube channel, search for Sam Obafemi on YouTube. Sam Obafemi on YouTube. So if you can search for Sam Obafemi on YouTube, you will see where you have all the videos, Pan-African webinars, and this one too will be uploaded on that YouTube. Thank you so much. All right, it's been a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Musa, Bello. Thank you, Korede. Thank you, Francis. Thank you, Dr. Ayobami. Thank you, everyone. We will come back again next month for another edition of the Pan-African webinar. Please do well to invite someone. Thank you, and have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.